Right, legends. God, something in my throat right there. Right, legends. What is lacking? I am back doing a live stream, and we're going to answer questions as an Ask Me Anything stream. We're going to watch the price of Bitcoin doing what it's doing right now, which is absolutely epic, considering we've been probably going flat for 2 months under the all-time high, and then a big pop break, going up to almost $120,000. Let me make sure everything's nice and live right now. But guys, yeah, we're going to answer questions in the chat. Ask me anything. I will write it in the chat. I'm also going to go through my analysis, as I usually do, and just have a kind of a commentary of what's happening with Bitcoin right now, because obviously, guys, this is absolutely epic. We've got some price targets to look at for the upside. Make sure everything's live. There we go. And, like, guys, we've got a lot to talk about in terms of price targets. These are basically Fibonacci extensions, guys. So these are a 50-50 anyway. But I would say 142 and 206 is kind of the going levels we're looking at. Let me make sure everything's working here. I don't even know if it's even on. It seems to me like it says no viewers. If you guys are in the chat, you can tell me if it's actually live right now. I don't actually know. It's saying no viewers. Excellent connection. Public, it says. Privacy. Let me just check everything, make sure everything's working correctly. In the chat, tell me if it's live. Yeah, here we go. Everyone's coming in now. So, yeah, like, we've got some price targets above us, guys. 142, 142, and 206. This is basically going by Fibonacci extensions, okay? So it's 50-50. So I'm saying what I mean by 50-50 in the chat, we already have our first person asking a question, is that these are not very accurate. Fibonacci extensions are not accurate. They can be wrong a lot of the time. But the only thing you can do for price projections into the future from looking at Bitcoin's history and other price charts is go by things. For instance, an example would be Fibonacci extensions, but they do not have a high hit rate. So when you go into blue sky breakout territory, it's very difficult, if not impossible, to pinpoint where the price is going to stop, because we have no resistance in front of us. We have no visual support. We have no resistance. We don't have any order book analysis. We can look at resting sell orders, but they can just be more fuel for the price to rise. For instance, right now, guys, we have nearly 70% of the market is short. And this is a post I did in my Pro Signals earlier. And we've been calling this, guys, specifically in my groups. You can go back as far as, I don't even know. You can go back a long way, and I've been calling to bounce trades, looking for the price to continue up. And actually, one of my main trades recently I got into was, I can actually show you them in a minute, 108K I'm in long on a manual trade. And also, guys, my bot is long from 107K as well. So we're looking real juicy on the long side in terms of the amount of open positions I have, manual and my bot positions, and obviously our own spot. So this is absolutely looking epic, guys. These are the two levels. Like I said, there's no way to define where the price is going to stop into the future when it's a blue sky breakout with no resistance and you're expanding the market, expansion phase. So none of that's... Don't even fucking bother. MicroStrategy, we can talk about that. I do have a MicroStrategy chart up somewhere. Let me find my MicroStrategy chart. This is Nike, actually. We'll do MicroStrategy a bit later. Again, I think it's... If you're looking to get into freaking crypto and Bitcoin, do not buy MicroStrategy to get exposure to Bitcoin. Just go and buy Bitcoin, the better asset, and yield that asset. Buying MicroStrategy is stupid. It's a tragedy if you're using MicroStrategy to get into Bitcoin other than buying it yourself. Defeats the whole point of getting into Bitcoin. And also... You got to remember that Michael Saylor is the predominant shareholder in his company, so it's not just benefiting you. When you buy Bitcoin, it benefits you. When you buy MicroStrategy, you're benefiting Michael Saylor and the shareholders. And the price might go up, but you're benefiting them to a degree, not just yourself. Why not just buy Bitcoin, own the bearer asset, yield the bearer asset, trade the bearer asset, and then have sovereignty over your money? But guys, this is epic. We're going to answer lots of questions here. So any questions you have, fire them in the chat. I'm just going to literally sit here and answer them. We can go through lots of different stuff, guys. Basically, this is one of my groups as well. We'll go through... this is also the exchange I'm using, guys. You should use the link to this exchange because it's no KYC. Actually, it's no restrictions on this exchange. I've actually been playing around with it. And this exchange here is called Phemex. The link is below, guys. I highly recommend using it for no restriction trading. So CBI, guys, we're not at the top yet. Very simple. Fear and Greed Index on the stock market is still up. I do think the stock market's going to have a pullback. Infinite market cap, we're all looking good, guys. NVIDIA is nearly $4 trillion market cap. Microsoft is just crazy, the numbers. Bitcoin's now, firing up the ladder. 6th biggest asset. Let's just call it an asset class. Obviously, crypto is the asset class, but Bitcoin in that bracket. So crypto, Bitcoin is now the 6th largest asset on the planet. Gold obviously is now nearly at $25 trillion. We're actually knocking on the door at 23 trillion. So, you know, for Bitcoin to get to gold's market cap, it is a 10x from here, which I do think is possible. Obviously, Amazons of the world and the Apples and the Microsofts and NVIDIA are all very, very big companies as well. But it's very likely, guys, that Bitcoin will become number 2 and stay number 2 for many months or maybe years, and then it will eventually eclipse gold. I do think we're going to slowly run up this ladder. Interesting, Alphabet's a little bit down. Silver, obviously, $2 trillion market cap on silver, which is epic. Just to get rid of that. One sec. So if you look at silver, guys, let me go on my gold chart. And by the way, guys, the only gold chart you should really look at is this chart here. This is the only gold chart that matters, and this is inflation adjusted. Oh my God, I'm getting phone called by Mariana. I will message her now and tell her I cannot take the call. This is my girl. Okay, 1 second. On a live stream, go to my YouTube, ask me in the live chat. Ask me in the live chat, girl. Mariinsky in the building. So the only chart you need to look at is this chart, Legends. This is a inflation-adjusted chart. So this is actually taking the price of gold and then dividing it or doing an equation to it with the M2 money stock, which is like essentially the amount of money which has been in circulating supply for US dollars. You can probably add what happens in interbank lending as well, but this is a generally good barometer of actually where gold is in its cycle. And most people get this completely wrong. They think that gold right now is like, you know, all-time highs. This is the most valuable part of gold. Oh my God, we're at $3,500. Actually, guys, gold has a long way to go to get to its peak of purchasing power. It actually hasn't even eclipsed 2011 purchasing power levels, and obviously 1979, 1980 was the highest point of gold's purchasing power. So if you went to the market with an ounce of gold, you could buy or purchase the most amount of things with gold in 1979. 2011 was even higher, and today we're here. So I do think gold will go to $4,500. I do think gold might go to $5,000. And by the way, just to make sure you understand why this is relevant to Bitcoin, if gold is going up, guys, gold is like the big daddy of assets in terms of value assets. It's the store of value, and it's the safe haven of this planet for thousands of years, because gold is the best money we've had for thousands of years. So when you want to retain your purchasing power, you buy gold with whatever else you have, and you trade whatever else you have for gold, because it will retain and it will encapsulate the economic energy of whatever work, sweat you did, or any service you provided. Instead of, you know, I always use the analogy, which is if you go to sea and you catch some fish and you come back to the port with those fish, the last thing you want to do is barter your fish for every single good and service you need to then go back out to the sea. What you would rather do is then exchange the fish for something that then stores the economic energy of that fish, which then you can then spend at your own discretion in the future. And that's what gold is. And gold is going up, it's doing mad shit, but my point is this, is that gold going up is very, very good for things like Bitcoin, things like silver, things like other precious metals. In general, if gold is going up, that means people are moving into value. They're getting rid of things that can be printed or created easily, for instance, US dollars, even going down the real estate market. And what they're doing is people are transferring those things into value, which means that we're in a good place, because gold and Bitcoin are exactly the same thing. Bitcoin is basically a digital version of gold, and everything about Bitcoin has been sculpted to mimic gold in a virtual sense. That's why we call it mining Bitcoin. That's why you have hash rate and stock to flow, and that's why Bitcoin has a finite or scarce supply, very similar to what gold has. So yeah, gold's looking great, guys. Silver is a very, very nice move here as well from silver. I've been calling silver for many, many years, and I do think actually there's a pretty nice trade to be placed on silver. When gold goes to probably, I think gold's going to come to here. So I've already have a whole chart about this, but you guys know that in this pocket between this wick here and here, let me get my fucking boxes correct. This area here, guys, I do believe this will be where gold tops for the short to medium term. I do think gold will do something like this. It'll rally into this, bada bing, and it will come back down. So this is when I think it tops. That's probably going to be another 100% from here or something crazy. Okay, another 50%, 30 to 50%, okay, increase of price. So I think gold will top here, but there will be a pretty nice trade, guys, into silver. If silver doesn't really go for it, the gold-silver ratio is pretty good right now. So I would say that actually, if you are in gold, you cycle into silver, and then silver will catch you even more gains as it catches up for the gold-silver ratio. And then that's very similar to Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin goes first. Bitcoin has its massive move. The ratio, there should be this indicator, which I actually will probably create. There should be a freaking indicator, which is the Bitcoin to altcoin ratio, right? And how much, what's the difference in divergence between the two? So how far is Bitcoin moving in relation to altcoins, and how much are altcoins moving in relation to Bitcoin? We have, essentially, we do kind of have that already, where we have the BTC dominance, and then we have total 2, which is the altcoin market. But yeah, you know, at the end of the day, this is very similar to what Bitcoin's going to do. Bitcoin's going to probably go to, like I said at the beginning of this video, 142, 200K, extremely crazy upside move. The altcoins won't keep up. Then when Bitcoin tops, the altcoins will then have their moment when Bitcoin is sold off into USDT, and people sell Bitcoin to buy altcoins to catch the Mexican wave into altcoins. And everyone doesn't like the term trickle-down effects. I think it's through economic theory they don't like it, but that's definitely what happens in asset classes like crypto, real estate, Bitcoin, going through to equities, commodities. There is a trickle-down effect. If you see a massive inflow of money from an institution flooding into something like Apple, and once that gain is made, what usually happens is they cycle into smaller stocks which are around Apple or aid Apple in their valuation. So what happens with real estate as well is that inner boroughs and central areas of cities get bought up quickly, because obviously the more central you are in that city, usually the more connections you have to public services, private services, goods, shops, whatever. So the value is quite high. Maybe you have a nice area to walk around as well. So inner cities usually get bought up quickly. And then once they get too pricey and the market realizes that, then it starts going out of the bands. Then you see the middle areas, and then the far out areas, and the suburban areas, and the money floods back when the opportunity is lost within the central part of each city. And that happens all of the time. It cycles. Very similar to Bitcoin. The money starts in Bitcoin. It has the most connections, the most exchange partners or exchange pairs. It has the highest liquidity. It's the most known. All of the factors are you buy Bitcoin first if you're getting into crypto. Just by flat factual analysis as well, by looking at the order books and looking at the amount of pairs it has and the connection to USDT and the on and off ramps. So everything goes into Bitcoin first. Bitcoin pumps up in price. Once you're in Bitcoin, then you cycle down, and then the trickle down effect happens. Bitcoin goes up. Everyone chases Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin rises. As it's rising, more people get into it. It's that the animal instincts take over. Once Bitcoin hits its peak, which is then what? Sorry, 2 phone calls in this stream already. So as the price is rising extremely fast, you then get, when Bitcoin is beginning to top out, it's because people are actually moving into, one sec. I'm getting blasted again. I'm on stream, brother. When Bitcoin is bought up, when the top is in, is usually when people start selling their Bitcoin into altcoins and into USDT. We have it. Oh, he's ringing me about it. Yeah, so we already have that. We already have this. So basically, what I'm saying right now, the whole analogy I'm talking about the flow of money within the market, we already have built. Viking's telling me in our company, MDX Algo, we already have built that indicator, and it's called the Capital Flow Index. So if you guys have a subscription to MDX Algo, yeah, tell us in the chat, Viking. Stop blasting me as a phone call. If I answer the call, it won't work anyway because I have got the VPN on and I'm in Dubai. So we already have an indicator called Capital Flow Index. You find it here. If you go into our indicator suite, you will see Capital Flow Index. Bada bing, bada bong. I will load it up now to show you. It won't be completely configured because it will just be straight out the box. But you can see, actually, I'll put it to the top as well. Move it up here. Capital Flow Index. This will probably have a loaded chart like this. Yeah, exactly. So what you can see here, guys, is where is the capital flowing? And we actually have this indicator. This is used aggressively by Viking actually in our community. He's probably written about it in here somewhere. I'm just going to go down this. Oh God, here we go. God. Kramer. Let's have a look. Viking, do a post here. Okay, he's in the chat right now. He's in our Discord server right now. The good old Viking. And also, guys, if you have a subscription with us, MDX Algo, you can monitor everything, all of the pro signal trades, everything we've been talking about, guys. We've been calling this for donkeys. If you go back a week, 2 weeks, I've been calling the bounce trades to come in. We've been saying that the upside is priority. We've been calling the fractals. We've been showing you guys what we think is going to happen. So, guys, this is nothing new to us in my trading group. I was even calling the bounce trade at local support. We've got the levels. Even this stuff, these are the TradFi updates. So you can come in here and watch our TradFi updates daily. This is pro analysis. I actually almost died as well, Legends, from last week, which was pretty crazy. But yeah, anyway, these are all the TradFi video updates. We've been calling these levels forever. So if you've missed this move, I have nothing really to say except you're a moron. Sounds a bit harsh, but you are. Because at the end of the day, guys, all you need to do is use my services because we're telling people what's going to happen weeks in advance. Also, just to be completely honest as well, is my trading bot. I'll leave the capital flow index up for now. You can see here we have a flow score, and it tells you which asset is basically increasing in the amount of people participating in it. So right now, we can see that in the blue. If I can just zoom in, we have stable coins are low. Well, that means, yeah, makes sense. The price of altcoins and Bitcoin are rising, so the amount of demand for stable coins is low, and the amount of the large caps, altcoins, and obviously shitcoins is high. So you can see it right here. But yeah, guys, if you've missed these things, yeah, Viking's got his top predictions. You can ask him in the chat. What are these little things we've got in the chat, by the way? We've got these little things happening. Guys, ask me anything in the chat, by the way. I'm going to be chilling here. Just ask me anything you want. So regardless of this, we've been telling you what's going to happen in our groups for months. What you want to be doing as well is, I've been saying it before, is you want to have some open strategy. So Algo Master as well. Let me get rid of that. Algo Master in itself has caught this 2 buy signals here. Algo Master, one of our indicators. And then obviously, guys, my trading bot, which is this green dotted line, got in here. It's probably going to be 108,000. I think I could probably show you this in more detail as well, if I can find the copy trading system. So yeah, right now, the trade on BingX is open, and it's up 8.5%. This is completely free, Legends, okay? So this is my trading bot. It's fucking free. Just use the links below to get it. Just sign up to BingX, you can get it for free. But I was talking about this in my group actually earlier today. I was like, if you miss this move, you shouldn't be. Because if you have the bot running, my trading bot, which is free, I give away a long-term swing trading. The reason I give it away free, guys, is because you sign up to the exchange, I get paid for the exchange, and you get to use my services. It's a trading strategy that's so old and traditional in its principle that anyone can do this. You just have to have patience. It's there designed. It's called the Hodl Bot for a reason. I've said this a billion times. But the Hodl Bot is there, completely free, and it will never, ever miss a big move. You can't miss a big move because it loses in sideways formations. It just places bets for when the next move is going to happen, but it places a bet every single time it thinks that the next move is going to happen. So when it eventually does, like today, you never miss it. So if you're sitting on the toilet, if you're running around a fucking nightclub, if you're asleep, if you're on an airplane, you can't miss it with the Hodl Bot. Come here, click on MDX Algo. You can see all the data. You can see everything, how it works. I even explain how it works. You can see the numbers, guys. This is the Hodl Bot. You can use this for free. I've said it a trillion times. But then that's one variant where you can use that to catch the trend or catch the moves. Then you got Algo Master, which is another variant, which you can manual trade. Then you have all of the content which I'm producing with Viking. I'm producing it with my team. All of this content, guys, which is, we've even been calling it from 74K back up. $74,000. We think the price is going to rise. There we go. We've been calling this for, guys, if you go back on this, you can just look at all of the analysis we've been talking about. I won't go through every single post. That'd be ridiculous. But you can just see, guys, that this is literally in real time. We think the bounce trade is going to happen. We think the price of Bitcoin is going to rise. Here are the fractals. Viking even did a post here about the invalidation points. And look now, look where we are. So now if we go down here, all these charts, bada bing, bada bong. So guys, there's no way you should be missing this shit. You should be catching these trades every single time. Let's have a look at the long short ratio. And guys, in the chat, ask me anything. We're 68% short. That is crazy. And it doesn't even surprise me really, like that's even happening, because it makes sense at this point. Because what a lot of people do in this trading game of people who are, let's just say, ignorant to trading, or they don't understand it, or they just don't have a high understanding of how this works, is that people see the price going into territory it's never been before, and the first thing they want to do because they missed the move is sell against it. And that all it does is creates more buy pressure. We've literally seen that today. In our VIP group, Viking did a stream earlier, and he was showing us that there's $150 million worth of shorts just above us. People just laddering in short positions above the price, which is, by the way, absolutely ridiculous, absurd. There's no way to make money. That's essentially trying to play poker and bluff every single person every single time, and you've always got a shit hand. It's so fucking risky. Anyone who's placing resting bid orders of shorts in random areas above Bitcoin, in blue sky breakouts with no prior resistance, we're not even looking at any rules or models or anything, and all those are bollocks, by the way, when it comes to extensions. It's just complete fucking gambling bollocks. Like, that's crazy. Or they're doing this, because I think Viking, you could probably bring up the chart. I haven't got the chart open right now. What you've got here at around 120k is $150 million worth of shorts. Now, people aren't, okay, professional traders aren't that stupid, because it could just blast straight through it. You lost all your money. You can do big resting bids below, because you have prior price action to look at, and you have support, resistance, and SR. But anyway, we have $150 million worth of shorts, and you guys could go and check this out. Viking in our group. Viking, post a chart in our Discord group if you're watching, mate. Just post a screenshot of that analysis you did. I would like to see it. So what it probably actually is, and this is what happens in crypto, especially crypto. It happens in all markets, actually, but specifically crypto, there's a lot of wash trading. So you're going to have exchanges which are going to be showing orders to try and signal to retail traders to do things that they want them to do. So they put huge resting bids in. Everyone goes, you know what, fuck that. I'm not going to be the one to buy into the $150 million sell wall. The price falls. Then these guys take these orders away, end up getting in where they want, and then there's nothing above you. Okay? And then you've played the game against retail, because they've gone and sold their bag. They then bought it off them. Then all the orders are gone. And then they all jump back in. It's like, oh, the orders are gone now. Bye, 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 bye. And it goes up. So it's essentially a game of cat and mouse, really. And banks do this with stocks and the stock market. Also, banks and institutions will do this with gold as well. And we know that exchanges do this with Bitcoin and crypto. So that's the only really rational thing I can think of as why that's happening, because I don't see anyone or know anyone or ever been around anyone or ever had anyone show me any analysis that makes sense to just put in $150 million worth of shorts into a blue sky breakout against the grain of the market. That's like trying to go against the grain of a fucking trunk. It's like a massive oak tree and you're trying to go against the grain or something, or you're trying to cut against the grain. It makes it more difficult. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to go with the market, go with the trend. The trend is your friend. And you're supposed to, as traders that we are, we're not here to try and prove the market wrong. We're here to be proven right or wrong by the market. And how we do that is we look at the charts and we go with what it's doing. When it's going up, we buy. Actually, guys, I actually will tell you all of my trades right now. I'll tell you, I did this in my group a second ago. We now have, I'll do it on the medium term, actually. So this is the stock to flow. I suppose I could leave it up. I actually do think it's quite interesting, but I can show this on this chart anyway. So guys, and this goes all the way down to 74k. So right now, legends, we have some real nice juicy shit, okay? Because 111,000 is the first buy. Then you have 108 is the second buy. Then you have $100,000, which is in here, which is the third buy. Then you have this wick low. I actually probably wouldn't take it. I would take 92, between 91 and 96. So let's just, argument's sake, make this 93. Then you have the mid zone, 84 to 83. And by the way, all these levels are defined. And then you have 74. So these guys, these lines you see on my screen are all of the relevant support levels. And the great thing about what you're doing right now, guys, is this is the easy part. You don't have to be a rocket scientist right now, because all of these potential buy trades on the way down, they all have not broken systemic structure on the medium term for Bitcoin's price action. So you get a free ride, because all of these bounce trades have, let's just say this one doesn't work, this one doesn't work, this one doesn't work, this one doesn't work. The last one, or the second last one, is when you actually find ultimate support. Then the probability of continuation is extremely high, because you've broken no systemic structure on the price, and you're above all the moving averages, and you're going to be above all of the relevant support, which will be 74K is the most crucial one. So I was saying in my group earlier, this is the easiest type of trading, because actually short selling, you can only make 100%. On the maximum amount of money you can make on a short trade is 100%. So when things fall, the percents are less than when things go up, due to calculus. So if you lose 1% here, lose 1% here, lose 1% here, because I'm just going by traditional risk management, lose 1% here. If the price of Bitcoin falls back down 15%, let's just say it goes down 20%, okay? So the price of Bitcoin fell 20%. You would have lost 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe a little bit more, give or take, if you try to get some re-entries. You would have lost probably 5%. And you can't really calculate like that, because it's always 1% of your equity. So you just lost 1% 5 times of whatever your equity was in your account. The great thing is, guys, if the price falls 20%, and then eventually you then get into the level which is the support, where the price now rallies back up for the retest of the high, guess what? The price doesn't need to go back up to the all-time high for you to get your 20% back. The price actually only needs to go around 70% of the way back up to then get 20%. Because if something falls 20%, it doesn't mean it takes 20% for it to go back up, for it to realize back to the all-time high. So wherever it started goes down 20. It doesn't need to go back to the very start to get 20%. So with the bounce trading strategy, you're always putting the probability in your court, in your favor, because now if you've lost a few trades all the way down, but then you catch support, it may have gone down 20%, but you don't need to go back to the high to make the 20% back. If you were holding spot, you lost 20%, but you only lost on your trades. Then what you're looking for this specific example, if the price did go like this now, all the way back down to this level, you would actually have a systemic short-term break microstructure. Then the rally will be 20% to here. Then you're looking at the head short position. Then you short against the market, because it's very likely you're likely to get some sort of pullback again. And then you do the roll reversal. Then your stop loss is here, and then it's a 1% stop loss there. You've got long from here. You rally back up. You head short. If that head short is wrong, it's just a 1% loss. But you're already long, and you lose your 1%, but then you continue with the long you have from here, which means the percents go up. So you're essentially now, I'm just showing you how you're supposed to have a strategy. This is the strategy you want to be playing. Okay, you want to be playing chess. You want to be thinking multiple steps ahead. But this is really easy. I've been doing this fucking day in, day out for like a decade. This is easy. And, you know, it doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. It makes money. If it makes money, then do it. Like, you don't have to make things more complicated. A lot of guys have all these crazy charts, do all these crazy things. They're like, I'm a very technical trader. It's like, well, I don't care how fucking technical you are. I care how much money you make. It's like, I did an analogy the other day. I was like, a good chef can make a good meal with none of the professional utensils. Like, a great chef could literally be in like a fucking jungle, or maybe a jungle's a little bit extreme. It's not Bear Grylls, but you could give an incredible chef like Marco Per White. You could give him a really shit kitchen with all the shittest tools and all the shittest fucking utensils and equipment, and he would come out of that shit kitchen with an incredibly delicious meal. And then you have a really bad chef, but he's got all of his expensive, I've got this really nice kitchen, this great ware, I use melee, I've got my fucking great hob and cooking. I don't even know what cooking utensils are. My knife and fork is good. And they could come out of the best kitchen in the world with a really disgusting shit meal. It's exactly the same in trading. You can have a guy who has nothing, the bare bones of technical tools to make decisions on where he buys and sells, comes out with massive profitable P&L. Then you have a guy who's got all of the wizardry shit, million screens around him, a billion indicators, a billion this, a billion that, comes out, P&L's down 50% for the month. They're not connected. The one thing you can say, though, is if you put Gordon Ramsay in the good kitchen, double fucking whammy. If you put a great trader in front of the great tools, double fucking whammy. So there's double whammies involved. But this is not double whammy stuff. This stuff here is just, you can do this, anyone can do this, you just got to be fucking disciplined, have control over yourself, not go on tilt. These are the fucking levels. And it's really good, guys, because Bitcoin's doing what we've been waiting for it to do for a very long time. And like, you know, gold and silver is the big daddy of value because it's been money for 5,000 years and there's nothing that beats gold. And look at it. Just look at it. It's absolutely phenomenal. And it's about fucking time because it's not even at 2011 purchasing power yet. You know, let's speculate. Okay, with gold. And I understand that gold's not Bitcoin, but they are very similar. And if gold does do something unbelievable, where it goes to tens of thousands of dollars this cycle, you can bet your bottom dollar that Bitcoin is joining that race. And also, all of the gains made in gold with increase of purchasing power will then likely flood into Bitcoin. So you have to, I actually do believe that when you're trading altcoins, you need to look at Bitcoin. But I actually do believe when you trade Bitcoin, you need to look at gold. I do think that the synergy between the two is they're getting closer and closer and closer together. And, you know, let's just say gold does go into an absolute parabolic move and goes back to the purchasing power that it was in 1979 or 1980. This probably isn't correct, this analysis. It probably doesn't mean that gold needs to go up 230% for it to be at the same purchasing power. Well, actually it does on this chart specifically, but it doesn't relate to gold going up 226% from $3,000. There probably would be a way to actually work that out, but it would take me a while to do the maths on it, and I'd probably have to use some tools and get ChatGPT up and have a little bit of a gander. But anyway, it's got a long way to go. Like, for the purchasing power of gold to go back to its all-time high, we haven't just got to beat... Where's that gone? We haven't just got to beat 2011 levels. We've got to go and just smash everything from... You know, it's a long way to go. So I do think that gold will likely have a pullback here. I've said this before. I've said this many times, but I would say that when gold hits the same purchasing power it had in 2011... And I'll show you on this chart. So this is actually a good example. So at this bull market high, the purchasing power of gold was higher than it is today. Because there's a difference between price and value. And we know this, guys. I've said this a billion times. There's a massive difference between the price of something and the value of something. Just because the price is high doesn't mean the value is higher. Because there's more dollars today. It's like, you know, a cup of coffee is now fucking $10. It's not the cup of coffee is not any more valuable from when it cost $2 20 years ago. It was just that it cost $2 because there was a certain amount of circulating supply dollars in the economy. Now there's lots more dollars. It costs $10 for the coffee. It's the same fucking coffee. The value never went up. So it's the same as gold. You've got the prices up, but the purchasing power of gold is not high than it was in 2011. You can see by this chart, this is taking the price of gold and dividing it by M2 money stock supply. So, and then obviously, this is even more crazy. What people don't understand is that this high here, legends, is that fucking high. So if you want to talk about purchasing power, baby, this is the real fucking deal. That's there. Inflation adjusted chart. So yeah, we got a long way to go. And I think the gold bugs are right. I think a lot of gold bugs are right, but they don't know why they're right. Like, you see a lot of guys saying, yes, gold's going to do this and gold's going to do that because of these reasons, and it's going to be the economy and this and that. It's like, relax. No. They're right, it's going to go up, but for all the wrong reasons. It's going to go up because there's so many fucking new dollars in circulating supply that it doesn't make sense for the price not to catch up. to the amount of dollars in circulating supply. And also, there's a lot of guys. I'm actually going on a podcast. I got a few podcasts lined up, and this guy was telling me on one of my chats. He was like, "I want you to come on the podcast. I want you to discuss money," because we had a guy recently come on our show who was talking about, all of these things beating inflation. And the one thing he did say is that gold beats inflation, but gold does not beat inflation. This is not true. Gold is not designed to beat inflation. Gold can't beat inflation. Gold can't beat inflation. What are we talking about? Gold is just the price of gold is a representation of how many dollars there are, because gold was there before dollars. Dollars are receipts for gold. So if you make more dollars, the price of gold will just rise to equate for those new dollars. It never beats inflation. It just does an accounting for inflation. If you're talking about inflation in terms of the increase of circulating supply US dollars. Yes, it can go into bubbles, and you can see that on this chart. It goes into bubbles. But that's not what it's really designed to do. It's not designed to beat inflation. It doesn't beat inflation. If you were buying gold for the last 10 years to beat inflation, you didn't do very fucking well, did you? Like, it's near the lows of its historical purchasing power. So all it does is retain your purchasing power. Things that beat inflation and things that make you money. Gold doesn't make you money. It just keeps the money in your pocket. So you can just buy the same amount of shit all the time. Go back 5,000 years, go back to the Mongols, go back to the Byzantines, go back to the Romans. All of 1 ounce of gold, roughly speaking, bought you the same amount of goods and services. And a good example would be a suit in London is 1 ounce of gold today, $3,500, the same as what it was in the Byzantine, the Romans, the Mongolians, even the British Empire. So it's not there to make you money, it's there to do an accounting for it. If you want to make money in this world, you got to buy shit that has a growth story. You got to buy things that will beat inflation due to, let's just say they will keep up with inflation due to having a fixed or scarce supply, or it's difficult to create, or it's an idea or a company that's difficult to make. So you need difficulty of scarcity, which creates keeping up with inflation, because difficulty of scarcity means that as a fixed or scarce supply, what it is, so it will always keep up with the new printed dollars, because otherwise it would be unfair if it had the same amount of that scarce asset didn't rise in price with new dollars, because then it'll be going down in value, but it's not. That's a fixed or scarce supply, so it must stay at the same value. So it has to have some sort of scarcity factor, whether it's an asset, something that's difficult to create, or a business that most people can't make or do, or something that most people can't do. And then it needs to have a growth story. It needs to entice new people, new money, new capital, new investors, people hodling. That's how you make money, because then you don't just beat inflation. The purchasing power increases faster than inflation, meaning the price and value go up at the same time. The price can go up of something, but the value doesn't have to go up. We know this. I've said this a billion times. The price can go up, but the value stays the same. What you want to be buying is things that the price is going up and the value is going up, because the thing that you're purchasing is beating the inflation rate of the denominated asset, which will be US dollars in this example, because it has a growth story. And that's why Bitcoin's so fucking powerful, because it's not just a fixed or scarce supply. It's a fixed supply, and it's a growth story, and it's small enough to have new participants. But gold isn't really, gold's not, it's too big. Everyone's got gold. Every fucking government on this planet have thousands of ounces of gold. There's 100 and maybe now 170 to 200,000 tons of gold in circulating supply, and about 150,000 of those are owned by governments. So the opportunity for growth isn't there. The only opportunity it has is keeping up with what the inflation rate is. Anyway, so that's kind of the thesis I have on it. It was a little bit of a long-winded explanation, but if it makes sense, it makes sense. And that's why, again, guys, I said the other day, is that Bitcoin is right now extremely exciting, because it's a bearer asset with a fixed or scarce supply, which has a growth story. Once that growth story begins to diminish and the excitement of it growing goes down because it's saturated more, Bitcoin will become boring. And when Bitcoin becomes boring, that's when the true alt season happens. People don't get it. Everyone thinks the alt season is like the main alt seasons have happened. There's never been an alt season of an alt season that's going to come when Bitcoin becomes boring. When Bitcoin becomes fucking boring. And it's basically gold times SPX with a higher vol and has a 30 to 40% increase annualized over longer periods of time. That's still great, but it's boring. It's predictable. It's like gold. Gold's going up right now. No one's fucking talking about it. It's boring. It just goes up. It just beats inflation, and it doesn't beat inflation. It keeps up with inflation. It'll only beat inflation if it's in a bubble, and it usually come back to the scene of the crime. So when Bitcoin gets boring, which isn't going to happen yet, because it's still not... It's slightly more boring, though, like from the last cycle, in terms of people being excited about it in the retail space. In institutional spaces, it's probably more exciting now for them than it is for retail. But what I'm saying is that Bitcoin will become boring in the degree that we have a lot of certainty, and it will do things that are quite predictable. When that happens, that's when the true alt season begins. And this is articulated and this is proven by the amount of money and capital that is pent up in gold, $22 trillion. The market cap of gold is $22 trillion. If you calculate and add up every single stock on the stock market, it's hundreds and hundreds of trillions of dollars. And gold is only 22 right now. If you add up Nvidia and Microsoft, Apple, all the way down the list, go literally through this whole fucking list. Go, and I'm talking go down, not just 5,000 stocks, go 10,000 stocks. Do foreign exchange markets, do foreign stock markets. Go and calculate the amount of economic energy stored up in people's bets in companies. It's hundreds and hundreds of trillions of dollars. And that's because gold is gold and gold is boring and gold can only do what it's going to do, and that's money. Gold is the connection between the companies. Obviously, everyone's lost their way and they don't understand that that's how this works. But companies trading dollars with each other is essentially, if we are going by what gold was built to do, the dollar is a representation, a receipt for gold. Gold is the glue between the companies to transact value with each other, to then store economic energy from each other, to then spend at their own discretion in the future when they want to. That goes to show that gold is not the real story. Gold is the money that connects the glue between the companies, but the real excitement and growth and all of the things that can beat inflation, because gold does not beat inflation. It just keeps up with inflation and sometimes goes into bubbles. Bitcoin at the moment will always keep up with inflation, but at the moment it's beating inflation because it has a growth story. So it's the same as buying a company from nothing to something. It's a growth story. That's where you make your money. But eventually Bitcoin won't beat inflation. It will for a long time, but eventually it won't. It will just keep up with inflation because it's going to have a finite supply. So why would the value go up and down? The value of Bitcoin, the only way the value goes up and down if there's a loss of faith or people begin to believe that it's better or worse for any specific time. But that's only going to be a cyclical trend on a long-term moving average, which shows that it just generally keeps up with inflation. But it could go over and under, over and under, over and under. That's all it's going to do. When Bitcoin does that, becomes boring and it's just over and under what inflation is, and it just stores economic energy as value, then what you're going to see, legends, is the real altcoin season. That's when altcoins are going to outstrip Bitcoin on all metrics, when the altcoin market is hundreds of trillions of dollars. The altcoin market could be a quadrillion-dollar market. If the stock market, if you add everything up together, is 300 trillion, just roughly speaking, if the stock markets of the world and companies with stocks and shares is worth $300 trillion and gold is a $25 trillion market cap, that means that Bitcoin might beat gold. So let's just say Bitcoin, its future is destined to be 50 trillion or more, because I do believe that Bitcoin's market cap can be bigger than gold, because Bitcoin is not just money. Bitcoin is more than money. Bitcoin is money and it's also a network. So it's similar to the Uber story I talk about a lot, where everyone used to value Uber. Well, a lot of people who invested in Uber in the early stages, they invested in Uber and they predicted and projected that the value of Uber should be this amount of market cap in relation to the size of the taxi market. So the valuations done on Uber were done on the size of the taxi market in the USA. But now we know that Uber has a bigger market cap than the whole of the taxi market in the United States of America. and it's a taxi company. How has it done that? How is the market cap of Uber bigger than all of the taxi market combined, and there's still thousands of other competitors who are taxi drivers? It's because Uber is more than a taxi company. It's a network. It's a data storage center. It potentially could use you can plug it into AI systems for driverless cars now. You can use it as sharing data. You can sell people's data, their name, all these other fucking things. Make Uber bigger than the whole taxi market combined. So what I'm trying to say is, I'm going on a bit of a rant here, legends, is that Bitcoin, I think, is more than money, because it is money, and it has a finite and scarce supply, which means that it can be used as a store of value to articulate money, which would be good unit of account, store of value. It has a medium exchange, and it has a fixed or scarce supply, which creates store of value, which means you have certainty to transact it as money. So the properties of Bitcoin are great for money. We know that one. I've been fucking saying that for a while. But also, Bitcoin is more than money. It has other attributes. It's a network. It's a rail system. It's a Lightning Network rails. It has other use cases. You can use the Bitcoin network for other things. So I think Bitcoin will be a bigger market cap than gold. Now, if you think that, if Bitcoin becomes a bigger market cap than gold, and the stock market is $300 trillion and gold is $22 trillion, if Bitcoin goes to $50 fucking trillion in the foreseeable future, what's the altcoin market going to be? I would say, arguably, the altcoin market is going to be so fucking big, it's going to be a $1 quadrillion market. There's going to be a quadrillion dollars in today's money, in terms of the purchasing power of US dollars today, eventually in the altcoin market. It's going to be absolutely monumental, because you've got stocks and shares that can be tokenized. So they're going to move over to the digital asset world and become altcoins, because you're going to be able to use things that blockchains provide for stocks and shares, which make it easier, more auditable, better for dividend distribution, better for auditability of the company. You can see what exactly there is, creation, stock buyback, or stock creation, or depletion, or deletion, or whatever it is. So in terms of the company increasing or decreasing the amount of stock they have. All of the attributes mean that a lot of these stocks and shares will become securitized tokens. And that means that they'll become altcoins. Maybe they'll be called security altcoins. So that means that a lot of the stock market's going to the altcoin market. That's already 300 trillion. Then you've got all of the new ideas of altcoins that are already there. And the altcoin market capitalization, the altcoin market capitalization, I'm speaking some fucking twing zinging shit. Jason just sent me $200. My guy, I will read your message. Thank you so much for your... I fucking know you, bro, actually. I subscribe to your channel, man. Jason Casper. Yeah, you're the guy you walk on the treadmill. I know your shit. I watched your channel, man. You guys should go subscribe. He's got some... very good, I would say, on-the-button, high-velocity trading analysis. But yeah, so I'm trying to say is that, and yeah, I appreciate the $200. I'll answer your question in one sec. But I'm saying that then you've got all the altcoins which are happening right now. And that's growing this market. I think the market cap of altcoins as a whole is 1.3 trillion. It says on the screen right there. So we have $1.3 trillion is already in the altcoin market. We have a 300 trillion stock market globally, which is a lot of that's going to turn into securitized tokens. So, okay, 1.3 is nothing. But I'm saying that the new ideas, new creations of altcoins, along with what Bitcoin can be, a higher market cap than gold, and then with what's going to happen with potentially a lot of movement over, I think the altcoin market will be a $1 quadrillion market cap in the future. And and Bitcoin, which is the synergy between the two, probably will have a very, very small share. If you look at the total dominance of Bitcoin, right now we're having this amazing move in the dominance of Bitcoin, but this is going to go like this. Zip, zap. Eventually. It might do this a little bit over the next 10 years, but that's going to fucking zero. Okay? The Bitcoin dominance is going to zero. And, it doesn't necessarily have to be bad for the price of Bitcoin. It can be very good for the price of Bitcoin. But if you think about it in the same way that if you took the size of the gold market and did a gold dominance chart on the stock market, the gold dominance would be like fucking zero. It's like 300 trillion to 20 trillion. It'd be like less than 1%. So like that's what's going to happen to this. I have a high degree of certainty, guys, that this altcoin market, the real altcoin season, is coming. But it's not going to probably happen for maybe a few decades, because I think Bitcoin still is going to be growy enough. It's going to have enough of a growth story and be exciting enough for it to capture most of the market moves. Anyway, so we got Jason. So you said, glad you're alive and well. Your recovery is bullish for Bitcoin. Mate, you fucking legend. Thanks for the $200, man. I will go and buy some. Actually, I won't buy oysters because I think oysters nearly killed me. But we should, dude, if you're ever in Dubai, mate, or Europe, I live in London as well, and I go to Singapore a lot in Dubai. We should, I should definitely treat you, brother, to a nice meal. Gonna have a chat, you know, face to face. Fuck all this digital shit. I'll buy you $200 worth of nice food. Appreciate all of the donations, man. I call them donations. I sound like I'm in hospital, even though I was, and I nearly died of an appendicitis. But yeah, I almost died last week. It wasn't last week now. It was almost 2 weeks ago. But it's crazy, guys. Like, I simply put, went to a restaurant. I ate something which I had an extreme allergic reaction to. The hospital thought it was a airbound. They called it an airborne pollutant. I said, was it the oysters? They're like, it probably wasn't the oysters, because you literally have had like a crazy fucking. We've never seen this before. It was probably some sort of airborne pollutant in the food that you ate. Industrial this, that. That then fucked me. I had to ring the ambulance. It was so bad, because essentially I was being sick. Digestive system was fucked. I was completely wrecked. I've never felt anything that painful. Went to the ambulance, came, picked me up. I got cornered and I got wheeled out on a wheelchair on a flat bed. I got wheeled out of my house, my apartment in the Burj Khalifa, through the whole of the Burj Khalifa. I had a whole crowd of people. Old women, chicks, men, fucking police people, the security. I had a crowd of people just escorted me out of the Burj Khalifa. It was absolutely hilarious. I wasn't laughing at the time. I was in agony. And then what happened is they took me to hospital. They essentially plugged me into all these weird things, like fucking drips everywhere and fluids, and shoved shit inside. It was horrible. They flushed out my whole system, got rid of the infection. I began to get a little bit better. I got discharged from the hospital 4 or 5 hours later. I was like, cool. They literally properly fucking... I went to the American Dubai hospital, which I've heard is one of the most sophisticated hospitals in the world, and the price definitely fucking articulated that point. And then what happened is I kind of got better, but then I started to feel bad again. I was like, oh shit. But it wasn't as bad as you would have imagined. And what happened is I almost didn't go to the hospital, but actually, like, my family, friends, I got persuaded. They're like, look, just go and get checked one more time. Like, stop being stupid. You got pain still. Like, go get checked. Went and got checked again. And then my fucking appendix was like about to rupture. And then they put me through this, you know, general anesthetic. It just all happened so quickly. Then they put me in a bed, general anesthetic, under the knife. And then the surgeon was like, oh shit, your appendix was actually in a slightly different location to what most people have it. So my appendix is essentially not in the right place or something. It was in a different place. So I wasn't getting the pain I should have. And also my body was doing some crazy shit in my internals where my digestive system was clamping onto my appendix and squeezing it so it wouldn't be as inflamed. Ended up, long story short, is that they fucking did full-blown laparoscopic surgery on me. They took 3 hours to do their operation instead of 30 minutes. It's a 30-minute operation. If you go get your fucking appendix taken out, 30 fucking minutes. Took them 3 hours. Apparently they were fighting to not cut me completely open. There was extreme infection. There was like maybe even the potential chance of septicemia or septic shock. It was just fucked. And they spent... I woke out of this general anesthetic and I was just like, is it all right? They showed me my appendix in a bottle, and it was like, usually it's like a smooth finger shaped thing, but it had all these like massive like ruptures and holes and bubbles on it. All I can remember is this bubbly finger looking thing. And the guy was like, look, if you had left that 24 hours or 48 hours longer, you would have had like a full, you know, explosion appendix. You can die in 3 hours. You would have had a way more evasive surgery. The surgeon did a great job. If any of you guys need a good surgeon, for any of your family and friends for any, bad specific reason, I will vouch and give you that guy's contact information because he was a fucking legend. He was super skilled in what he did, and he did it without. He did his little damage as he could have done for my situation. So I just can't fucking be more grateful, really. I wrote him a big review on Google, and obviously I paid him $10,000 to do it. So you pay for what you get. I don't have medical insurance. And that's fine. I'm happy to pay the price of what it costs, because if you have medical insurance, it would have cost me $2,000 a year for the last 20 years to have it. So it would have been the same price as getting the fucking operation done anyway. But yeah, I would say the Dubai system's incredible. I'm just fucking grateful that it didn't get worse than it could have. And I I looked at the global life expectancy numbers over the last 500 years. And about 300 years ago, the average life expectancy was like 32 years old. Having said that, that was because a lot of infants would die at birth, but that's still death of a human being. So it still is it's a valid thing, because if it wasn't for modern medicine, I would have been bang on the age of the life expectancy of a human being. I would have died. If it wasn't for modern medicine, I would have been dead. There would have been no way I would have known. Firstly, the fucking infection might have killed me. Then the appendicitis would have definitely killed me, because I would never have had the tools. If I was in a cave somewhere, it would have just exploded and I just would have died. Would have been dead. But it's crazy. That's crazy. If I was born 300 years earlier, I'd just be dead. What? That was so quick. That would have been so quick. 32 years, boof, you're dead. And it would have happened out of nowhere. Maybe I would never have got the infection that I got, because there may not have been as many airborne pollutants which have that type of crazy, fucking mashed me up. Maybe I wouldn't just have had that in the first place, but I'm saying I would have been bang on the money, legends. Just crazy, man. You could be living a good life, chilling, walking down the road, and then next minute you're in hospital. So it's just good to have In fact, I actually, okay, obviously I'm not dead. If I died, it wouldn't have been great. But now I'm not dead. It does reinforce so many different things in my mind. It even makes me feel just so grateful to just wake up and not be ill, because obviously I felt so bad for so many days. Just grateful to have what I have. Grateful to have food on the table. Grateful to be me. Grateful to be born where I was. Grateful to have not be ill. Grateful to be able to walk. And I definitely just feel better in myself. I just feel way more relaxed. I'm just look, what the fuck? I'm just here, chilling. I'm alive. I'm not dead. I have everything I ever wanted. I have a great life. And I'm not really a warrior anyway. I'm not really like that. But it just made it even more. 300 years earlier, and some silly southern fairy peasant dies. Man, it's a bit harsh, bruv. A lot of these peasants were more men than most men you'd ever see today 300 years ago, I'll tell you that. But yeah, it's true. If I was a medieval peasant 300 years ago, I just would have been a statistic. They probably would never have known how I died. They wouldn't have gone into think he died from his appendicitis and it was a ruptured appendix. They probably would have said he was possessed by a devil. He was really rude in church once. He was super rude once in church, and that's probably why he got fucking struck by the appendix, even though they didn't know it was the appendix. But yeah, no, it's good, man. It's a good one. It's interesting. There's a lot to be said about when things get taken away from you. I really want to try and build that into my daily mechanism a little bit more. But I have been doing it I literally have been doing it every single time I've woken up in the morning. I've got out of my bed and just been like, shit, I don't feel bad. It's so good for you. So many people get all upset and sad about all these completely ridiculous external factors, which they don't even have a control over most of the time. I need this to feel like that. I need a car. I need a house. I can't get rid of this regret. Fuck me. I'm so blessed that I have the mental state I do. And I didn't always have this mental state. I had to train myself into perpetual positivity. But there's a lot of people out there who haven't got a grasp on it, and it's just sad because so many of them they are literally just umming and ahhing about shit that is so irrelevant, and all you have to do is just try and reset your brain. Like, I was born on this planet with nothing. Whatever I gain is a gain. If I go back to nothing, it's not bad because nothing was what I started with. And all these extra variants, which I think are going to make me happy, do not fucking mean anything. If you can't sit with nothing in your room, with nothing, you've got no nice house, you just have the ability to feed yourself and work a job. If you're not happy with just the basics, you have a fucking problem. Like, seriously, like, when I had nothing, no money, no ability to travel, like out of school, for instance, like when I was at uni, I was still happy in myself. I still was just like, I'm just doing my thing. If you're upset about that, and a lot of people on the internet are pushing for that narrative as well. You know, you're a fucking idiot because you're poor, you're stupid because you haven't managed to get a big house or have massive muscles or have a really fast car or have a fucking amazing, beautiful wife. Like, all this shit is just like, nah. You should strive to be better than you are every day. You should always strive to become a better person and be a better human being every single day. You should always strive to do that. But it should only be in moderation to where you are, what's realistic, and are you content and happy in the day that you're doing that thing. You don't want to consistently be striving for more, but always be unhappy because you're not more. Then you're fucked. You're never going to get there. You're never going to arrive at the point of, oh yeah, now I'm here. You're never going to get there. So, like, you have to always be, every day you wake up, have gratitude, grace, realize that most of us are extremely lucky with modern medicine, with the people who are there to support us. Even like some health and safety shit. I know health and safety is ridiculous, but at least people aren't getting fucking run down as much. Like, there's so many vectors now of safety. When you get close to the realization that, you know, you can die, it is quite comforting. But it's like, you just have to have gratitude, think about it every day. Have your goals, though, because I always do believe that you have to. I kind of have almost a psychotic issue. I would say it's a psychotic trait, which I think maybe most people have, because I'm probably not that different to most people. But I have this thing where, like, if I don't feel like I'm just progressing in some way, I go to the extreme level where, like, everyone's like, Netflix is bad. It's like, well, is it bad? If you watch a documentary about something which is really interesting and it's really cool, how's Netflix bad? Like, no, watching television is bad. Well, it's not, obviously, is it? Just depends on what you watch. So I go to the degree of, like, even if I'm just trying to gain value from everything I do. Because if I don't gain any value from it, I just have a psychotic issue where I just feel like I'm not progressing. And if I'm not progressing, I don't feel like I'm growing. And if I'm not growing, I don't feel in myself that I'm doing the right thing. No, it's not about happiness, actually. It's more about just, like, am I doing the right thing? Like, should I just get better at this? Should I get better at that? So what I have to do to kind of switch off, which a lot of you traders in this fucking group will probably know about, is when you switch off, you have to genuinely have a day where you say, today I am not going to do anything because this is my day where I don't do anything, and you shut everything off and just go for a fucking walk and just don't do all of these crazy things all the time because the stimulus is too much sometimes. Like, just play. I try to do it now with I don't know if Pete's watching. He might be watching the thing, but every day, at least at the end of the day, try and do something which is about growth, but then also do something which is about switching off and leisure, whether it's watching something which is cool, playing a fucking computer game with my boy, jumping on CSGO, doing this, like, whatever, like doing something which orientates around having some sort of, like, leisurable part, because otherwise it just gets so relentless. But I don't want to say that you shouldn't just work at some points in your life, because you should. And I wouldn't be where I am today if there wasn't periods of my life where I was like, I am only working, that's it. And also, what you do begin to realize as well with hard work in itself is that you shouldn't always be striving to be a hard worker. Because a lot of people who just work hard the whole time is just because they have nothing else to do. It's just an excuse. It's just an excuse to work because you don't have anything else to fucking do. Like, you need to have a higher meaning in life than just working to become rich or whatever it is. You need to have a higher purpose, because otherwise, you become that person who just works to work because you've got nothing else better to be doing. And that's what most people do, but they use that as an allocator. Yes, I work so hard. It's the hardest work I've ever seen. It's because they got nothing else to fucking do. They're not supporting anyone. They ain't got a family. They ain't got any friends. They ain't that happy. Like, a lot of entrepreneurs who work all the time, they're not that fucking happy. Seriously. Like, I know loads of entrepreneurs. Half the fucking people in this country are entrepreneurs in Dubai. They ain't that happy. Like, and what you usually find is, like, some of the happiest people in the world are the people who don't strive for hard work and greatness. They're actually just getting by as much as possible in whatever they're doing to then extract as much as possible to then do the things they want to do, which can be hobbies, family, support structures, travel, whatever it is. And you find it's a weird synergy. I think the perfect synergy is to work hard and play hard. We all know that saying. But I think burrito time's coming up. I think there's a synergy between the two. And I think what's good for... I don't really understand half the time, like, what people's motives are. Like, look around you. Like, people have different motives for different reasons. But I would say that just whatever you're doing, just try and break out, make it contextual. Always try and have a plan in your head where it's like, now I'm going to work hard for this amount of time. Now I'm not going to work hard for this amount of time. Now I'm going to put my energy to this. Now I'm not going to put my energy to that. Just try and build like a structure where it's like, because otherwise if you just don't have that, you're just constantly doing everything all the time. And it's like, everybody needs something to like look forward to and also something to look back at. And you need to have that kind of perfect synergy between the two. Otherwise, you're just like one of those entrepreneurs who's just working to work. You've got nothing else to do and you don't know what you're doing. And you become rich, but you're lonely. Like, for fuck's sake. That's like the most ironic thing ever. You have all these people who all they're doing is living in this rat race to make loads of money, or just money. And in the journey of making that money, they isolate themselves so much and detach themselves so much from everyone around them that when they actually get to the point of financial success, they have no one to share it with. Like, that's fucking crazy. I've managed to keep a lot of my oldest friends, even if I am financially whatever and all this shit. Like, everyone's like, you're the sum of the 5 people around you. Well, that's not true, is it? Because that's just maybe in some cases, but it's not true. Because I'm not the sum of my fucking closest friends. And they're all benefiting from it. I'm benefiting from it. I have good friends who, for instance, are old friends from school. I got my boy fucking Pete No Stop, obviously. He's my boy. I got my boys from Bristol, London friends. I got new friends now in Dubai. I got friends going back like Brownski. I don't know when we met. We probably met when I was fucking 20 years old. I have some old friends who I've known since I was like 14. That's what you want to do. You got to keep your old boys. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Anyway, I'm waffling on. Maybe we've gone a little bit philosophical. Loving the philosophical shit. It's resonating. Yeah, I'm in that kind of mood. I've been in that kind of mood for a few days. Ever since I got out of hospital, I've just been a bit like, I don't know. It's just one of those things, I wouldn't say it's changing me as a person, but I would say it's definitely just been like, okay, maybe I was wrong about a few things. Maybe I was right about a few things. Maybe I'm not always the best doctor for myself. I'm always like in the camp of stay away from pharmaceuticals, try not to go down that road. But it has reinforced in my mind that longevity and supplementation is for the onset, or it's trying to offset the potential chance of illness. So longevity supplementation is to offset potential illness. But when it comes to surgery and it comes to things that are external factors that hit you like a black swan event in a trading market, things that you can't predict or foresee, which physically hit you, I definitely will now go to a professional surgeon or a GP faster than I probably should have in my last experience of something that, because I genuinely thought in my head, I was like, I'll be fine. There's just a little bit of pain, you know, they did some shit inside me. I'll be fine. A couple more days and it will go away. I was literally, a couple more days it will go. The surgeon was like, if you left it 2 more days, it would have exploded. I'm like, oh shit. Fuck. Why did I think that? I was just thinking, yeah, but it's a digestive system, you know, they've put all this thing, I'll be fine. I'll just drink from fucking kombucha. I'll just have some bone broth and some fucking ginger tea. That's not where it's at. That could have killed me. I'm good to see you live and ticking, MDX. You legend. Must be awful going through what you went through. Yeah, it wasn't pleasant, I would say. It was pretty it was fucking painful. It was horrible. It was weird. You're in a hospital. It's just it's not a nice experience. But, you know, it's you know, I'm not dead, so, you know, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So I do feel ultimately better about the whole thing. And as you grow up, or as you get older, I would say I'm probably 32 years old, grow up. Probably did that a few years back. Maybe not, actually. Maybe I still am a kid. But, yeah, I think ultimately it's a positive, because if it makes you change in the future or potentially have the wisdom to be able to maybe give someone else some advice, potentially friends, family, whatever, about their situation, then it's all good, isn't it? The appendix is such a ridiculous thing. You know, it's just like one of those things where the culture of human beings has changed faster than the evolution of the body, where it's a cultural thing, not really a biological thing, in the fact that we just don't eat vegetation anymore due to the onset of mass agriculture, farming, and different types of tools that digest food. We just don't opt in to eat difficult leaves or grass, for instance. Like, that's just like a change in the way that human beings have, how we eat food. And the appendix used to be that thing, where it used to, as a Neanderthal, I think, it used to be the digestive system for plants and essentially grass, plants, and leaves. But because we've moved so quickly out of that realm of what we digest, the mitochondria, or let's just call it the gut biome, is changed for different habits of diet. But the appendix just hasn't been like completely eradicated from the human body yet, even though it probably might happen. You know, evolution is a long process, though, millions of years. I suppose if everybody starts getting their appendix taken out, maybe the potential chance of natural selection, maybe there's a genome thing where the genes change and then less people are born with it. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is like the appendix is essentially like not there for any reason, even though it does hold bacteria. It can hold bacteria which can be released into your gut if you have, you know, something like a bad food poisoning. The appendix can release good bacteria, but ultimately has no use, and your body can live without it. But it's just there, and it's just dangerous, and it's just like one of those things. The human body is incredibly complex and good, but it's not perfect. Yeah, I'm doing some sort of philosophical chat. You can't reduce life to axons and quoted, axioms and quoted. Don't forget Fortifly's legend. Oh yeah, Fortifly's Sammy Loyal. That's his natural name. Danny Koo's in the building. Breaking. Powell considering resigning. Oh yeah. Oh, I swear, like Trump was saying from the beginning, he's gonna get him out. Just get him out. Get rid of Powell. Get someone sick in who's like giga the BTC. Let's get rid of all the fucking gold. Let's just buy Bitcoin instead of this and get it on the ledger and print. And everyone jumps on the bandwagon. I like the more grounded Max. Not that you were a lesser person before, but it feels more like a legend. The Oz of Sweden. Appreciate the comment, my friend. What's good, legends? What's going on, Fiber Splice God? Smash up those likes. I haven't even asked for any likes. How many likes have we got? I don't even know. If you want to hit that like button, that'd be awesome. But I'm just so a real like thing I always have been wondering is when you look at TV shows, which I used to watch when I was a kid in my teenage years, and you watch them on like, you could call it network TV in America or like the public TVs in terms of the channels, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, BBC, Channel 4. Like all those shows would always just be orientated around the best user experience and the best type of content without always trying to speed up the length of the video, subscribe, like, all these fucking things you always say. And it's actually changing like the landscape of like how content is made, because you're seeing it even move into the realm of like Top Gear now, where it's just like the whole thing is like always built on the premise of let's make it short enough so the watch times get, the algorithm is like sculpting even all the programs we watch. It's kind of like a bit of a tragedy, really. Consistently getting hit with subscribe, like, do this, go and comment. It's just like, how many times are we gonna fucking say this? Like, it's not. I'm just like, no. I had my appendix out when I was 9. Christ. GP missed it twice. But third one knew what it was. Getting put to sleep was weird. I still remember it. Yeah, I will never forget it. It's definitely, I think the sensation is when you fall asleep for 6 hours, but it felt like 10 minutes. When you sometimes you fall asleep and you wake up and it felt like 10 seconds, but like look at the clock and it's like 4 hours have gone. You're like, oh shit. That's what general anesthetic is. And I think it's kind of like maybe what death is. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but it's like it's kind of like, it's just general anesthetic when you go under is like what it's like to die, but you just never wake up. It's kind of weird. And also, you don't really feel well rested. You have this weird thing in your shoulder where like they do an operation, this weird thing in your shoulder happens. What's your prediction? Let me guess. You are bullish. I don't like to call myself bullish and bearish, but I do think Bitcoin's going to go to 142 at the next big stop and 206. But just having said that, these two levels are very vague because it's a Fibonacci extension, so it's not like written in stone. These levels have to play out. I just think that those two levels are due to the Fibonacci extensions. What we're looking at, 142k and 206 is kind of where I think we'll end up. Might look something like this. Nice move up, back in again, maybe some sideways, and then we could then do the actual bear market. We'll see. It probably won't look anything like that. It'll probably do something which is unforeseen, or maybe to here, and then it nukes back, and then we get something like that. Over the years, that will probably take us into 28. That wouldn't surprise me. You know, let's just kind of, something like this is kind of what I think is going to happen, guys. You know, it looks pretty radical, but you know, if we go to 142k, we're probably coming back to $42,000 per Bitcoin. And if we go to 206, we're probably coming down to 60k. If we do something crazy like 500, I think this is actually line. Where do I put this on? Let's draw a 500 line as well, just to get the mid zone. Oh shit. God, this is going to be crazy if we go up here. 500,000 will probably end up, if we go 500,000 this cycle, which is probably a little bit unlikely, then the bottom will likely be around 148. I'm open to any amount, guys. I'm open to it all. Doge TA. We could do a bit of Doge. I haven't looked at Doge Master for a while. You know, higher time frame, it's a good chart. It's actually one of the better altcoins. You've managed to wipe out a whole load of pyro resistance all the way to the top side wick, and this is on the monthly chart. So everything here got wiped out in terms of everyone who was going to sell, they did sell. So you've essentially, you know, managed to kind of flush the order book. So I think Doge is probably going to do very well, actually. It's one of the better altcoins for sure. Like, you know, if it had held this level here, it would have been better. Doesn't mean it can't regain and retest, but I think Doge will do well. I think Doge, you know, will likely eclipse its all-time high. in this cycle. I do think that will happen. Shiba is not as good. I won't bother going into like micro analysis, guys, because you know all you need to do on altcoins is turn on Algo Master, and you've kind of got exactly what you want. Like, just if you're trading an altcoin which is in the below the top 10 or anything like that, just go on a higher time frame, even lower time frames, and just use Algo Master with Wave Master. It really is that simple. Like, you don't really need to make it difficult to make money. Like, if you're looking for the oversold areas with the buy signals, you're going to do really well, guys, on Doge. You can see here that, yeah, it's not difficult to see where the buy and sell signals are. It's looking pretty darn good. Everyone talks about Sui. Sui's had a good move. Let's jump out onto a daily real quick. You know, it's not as clear as you would think. Okay? Because Sui is above its prior macro support, but the thing is, it is doing it's penanting. It's in a sideways, and it's not exactly. Let's just draw it like that so it looks cool. But it's likely like that, and then continue. That's probably what's going to happen. But it doesn't mean that Sui can't retest first. The probability of increase of price is there, but it's not 100% clear. I would say the probability of increase is higher though, but it's you're going to probably see this do something like this actually. You know, continue the pennant, and that's very similar to Ethereum. Ethereum's going to do that as well. Ethereum's going to do. It's not going above $4,100. There's no chance. If you think Ethereum's going to go and break 4,100 in the next 2 to 3 months, I would say you're very unlikely that it's going to do that. It's very unlikely. I think it's more likely to do something like this, back down, and then it's going to do that. I've said it many times. When Bitcoin tops and comes down, it's likely going to be Ethereum's point. But I made a point in this video earlier about how, you know, the real altcoin season has not begun. The real altcoin season will happen when Bitcoin becomes boring. And this video, I will keep this video up, and we will see if I'm correct on that prediction. Stablecoins are really down. It's pretty interesting to see, to be honest. Let's have a look at Pro Signals, see if anyone's posted anything. Obviously, we can just look in Discord as well, on the Bitcoin chat. Ah, here we go. Viking's been a legend. We can actually go to the Bitcoin chat here as well. I just want to quickly show you this, guys. On MDX Algo, you can monitor all of the chats as well. So if you don't have Discord, if you don't use this chat social media application, you can also come here and you can look at all of the charts and stuff. And you can keep up to date with everything we're doing in this. And Pro Signals is where you're going to get all of my analysis, etc. So like I was saying before, that's a really nice long on Binance for sure from the bot. But anyway, you can see here that, guys, there's $146 million worth of open bid short positions above the price right now. The reason that this is okay, that's interesting. So Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, Jay Williams, the reports of Jeremy Powell is considering resigning. Yeah. Very happy, young sire. Let's get rid of the prick. So, yeah, I said this already once on stream, but at around $120,000, you have $150 million worth of aggregated shorts on exchanges. And any traditional sense looking at how to make money in trading, this is ridiculous. So this is very, very risky. This is essentially trying to bluff every single hand in poker, every single time, regardless of what you have. It's super risky. This is more likely to do with wash trading. So there are institutions like exchanges specifically in crypto, which they put a lot of resting orders in because retail traders will look at order books on exchanges and say, you know what, I don't want to be the guy who buys into that because it might do that, right? Because it's shorts. So what happens is that I would say it's trying to flash wash traded tradable funds. If we do begin to rise, you'll probably see it get pulled and it'll disappear and continue. But what they're trying to do, people who have the incentive to make money via the price going down against retail, what you might see is the price goes, well, retail say, no, I don't want to do it. The retail trader sells off. Once the price comes to relevant levels where there's resting bids at support, these people will flip, buy up the price massively here off the retail traders who sold. They will then go and pull their shorts, which then signals to retail, oh, okay, it's gone now. They've already sold their bags. When the institutions have bought here, they push the price up. Then all the retail guys who sold along here, they end up FOMOing back in because guess what? There's no shorts left. They're like, oh, the wall's gone now. Let me jump back in. They jump back in at a higher price, which they sold at, and then it continues. That's kind of like a pretty elementary way of trying to explain to you how wash trading works and how manipulation via exchanges and order books is happening. And that's obviously going to happen. Like, this is an amoral market. Like, the game is to make as much money as possible off the trading participants. So to say that's not happening is stupid. I would just say that it's arguable how much is happening considering the size of the market. And we know that banks do it with stocks. We know that institutions do it with gold. We know that exchanges in crypto do it with Bitcoin. So like, it's 100% happening. It's just, don't get into the mindset of it's always the market is, the price is always being determined by market movers and manipulators, because that's not the truth. Because it's not 100%. Like, every single candle has not been printed 100% by an institution or exchange. That's not happening. And there's evidence for that across the board, because you've got to remember that there's no entity with that much control, and all exchanges are against each other as well. So it's not just player versus player in the retail market. It's exchange versus exchange. It's institution versus institution. It even goes up to ETF versus ETF and fucking pension versus pension. So like, everyone's fighting each other to try and get in first and get in and sell out early. So to think that there's some sort of coordinated 100% collusion attempt to manipulate the price of Bitcoin on every single candle is ridiculous. And also you can prove that by the fact that if you look at Bitcoin charts, it still plays very similar price movements to other markets, which if you go back hundreds of years and look at markets of, if you look at daily plotted prices of goods and services in empires like Egypt, Byzantine, Romans, and Mongols, or whatever. If you can actually, do this on ChatGPT as well. They can make you models now, and also you can go on a website called, I think it's like Prices of Everything Before 1970 or some shit, and it goes back thousands of years, and you can see price charts of traders who would go around the market and they would plot on a fucking scroll or a papyrus. They'd plot the prices of all the goods and services, specifically tomatoes, for instance. Every day, they'd go around all the markets, they'd plot the prices, they'd aggregate it to what the average of that is, and then put a marker saying that's the price today. That's the price today. And people did this for hundreds of years. And like, you can look at the prices of things, and a lot of those prices, they're very similar to what you see on prices today. So it just goes to show that like, there's no coordinated 100% boogeyman deciding exactly what Bitcoin does. I'll say a caveat to that though. The lower the price, the smaller the time frame you look at, definitely the more type of manipulation is happening. But on higher time frames and the general thesis of the supply and demand relative to the buyer and the seller and how the price moves, it's actually, I would argue, Bitcoin's very, very organic in comparison to some other markets. And if you go to altcoins, like anything smaller, it gets even more organic. I'd say, I'd argue that things like Dogecoin and Link and ADA, they're like very, very nice, pretty much unmanipulated price action. But that will go against a lot of people, because a lot of traders will say, no, it's all manipulation, because the reason that I'm losing is because it's manipulated. Like, I'm losing all the time because it must be because of manipulation. It's not just because I don't know what I'm doing. It's because I'm being manipulated. And that's why all price action is manipulated. That's why I lost my trade. It's a psychological flaw. You should never think like that. It should always be your fault. Anything you do should always be your fault. Even if it's not your fault, just make it your fault. Probably better to do it that way, isn't it? What do you think about silver? Yeah, so I spoke about silver quite extensively earlier. Like, I need to bring up so the gold silver ratio is pretty good right now. Silver is in a super good uptrend right here, and if you look at the price of silver, it hasn't broken any of its highs on the linear price charts. If you go to inflation adjusted charts, which I could probably do actually, it will be silver /M2. It might be purchasing power chart. Yeah, so, okay, this is great. Look at that there. 1979 again, eh? This is 1980, 1979, yeah. So, yeah, this is a very similar... Look at this. This is great. This is really good analysis now, okay? So, what I'm basically showing you here now is exactly what the gold to silver ratio is. Now, let me quickly draw that box here, because this will give you an understanding of purchasing power. So, if you look at this chart, and then you look at this chart, the purchasing power of gold is much closer to its 2011 highs than silver is. Okay, so if gold goes here, which I think it will, I think gold will go to the 2011 purchasing power highs. Silver is nowhere near there. You've probably got 500%. Okay, 250%. For gold to go back to its highest peak of purchasing power, 30%. Okay, so it's crazy. So there's a big opportunity in gold for sure. I do think so. Also, you have to remember is when gold does begin to top, if it's, let's say it tops here and it begins to come down, what you will see very likely is that will be the beginning of the move for gold. So gold will actually begin its, because it will be the beginning of the uptrend for silver, the real uptrend for silver, because gold, the reason it's being sold is because the purchasing power is high enough for people to say, I want to buy other goods and services and assets. And one of those assets will be silver. And people have called me crazy about this thesis that Bitcoin goes first and altcoins go second. This is exactly what it is. Gold goes first because it's the highest liquidity, the most connections, the most dealerships, the highest amount of known participants. Everybody understands what gold is in terms of government institutions, and it has the representation of God's money, or let's just call it the king's money, and it has the highest weight per... So the weight of gold is extremely heavy for a small amount of space. If you have $1 million worth of gold, it's not that much in terms of mass. $1 million worth of gold can fit in that safe, a small safe. But $1 million worth of silver can't. $1 million worth of silver is a lot of silver. There's a lot of actual physical silver you need to get to $1 million worth because the density is less. So there's loads of factors that mean gold is better at money than silver. And there's a lot of reasons why Bitcoin's better at money than Ethereum. And Bitcoin's better at money than other altcoins. Even though those altcoins can be used as money, but they're just not as good as Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin's use case is for money. And all of these altcoins have dual use cases. So I'm trying to make a point here is that gold goes first, and then and silver lags behind it. It's a very similar. Bitcoin goes first, then altcoins come later. Gold goes first, and then silver comes later. So it's a slightly different analysis. I think silver is a very, very good opportunity, considering the ratio between where it is in terms of its purchasing power divided by M2 money stock in comparison to gold. So, yeah. This is really how you should be looking at it, guys. It's a little bit more abstract than most. I think most people just look at the price and say, well, it's gone up this much, so da-da-da-da. It's kind of, the more I get into it, it doesn't mean anything. The price really doesn't mean anything. Price does not mean fuck all. It's all about what the purchasing power of the asset you own has in relation to the amount of circulating supply of dollars. And that's the only way you're going to make money. Because otherwise you're just going to think you're getting rich on paper when the price goes up. But that's not the case. Blowfin. I don't know. I don't use Blowfin. I haven't gone close to the exchange. They're just going to get KYC'd. I'm more of a... If you look in the exchanges... If you look at the description box below, those are the exchanges I use. One of my favorite exchanges is Phemex, because they have very limited restrictions, etc. But the links are in the description, guys. You can check out... Yeah. Phemex is one of my favorites. You also got BingX and Bybit. They have my bot on it, by the way. So my Hodl Bot is on BingX and Bybit. But if you go to the description below and just sign up to those exchanges, you'll have a good run in crypto. I've used all of those exchanges for... I've used Bybit for 6 years. I've had a Bybit account for 6 years, actually. Maybe 7 now. 2019. End of this year, it'll be almost 7. No, next summer, it'll be 7. So I've had my Bybit account for 7 years. I've had my Phemex account for roughly the same. I'd say probably 5 years. BingX is relatively new, but I've had it for 2 years. I've definitely had it for 2 years. They're all decent exchanges. But all the links are below, guys. When you use my referral links, you get big bonus and stuff. You know, they'll give you free money when you sign up. I think Phemex is this here, so... Yeah, this is what it looks like, the interface. It's pretty good. I've just been fiddling around with this dual account with like a little bit of Bitcoin, but I've got some nice open positions, guys, on multiple exchanges. I think BingX, what's my position on BingX? We're up at the moment. It's only 1x, so it's fine. This is not the representation of the amount of money I have in the trade, because this is for my trading bot. So if you want to use, look at that. That's what I'm talking about, guys. Small losses over a period of time. It's going to be small losses and then boof. This is now going to likely continue up pretty aggressively, guys. This chart is now going to just start the next big phase up, and it's going to eclipse anything down in this drawdown period, and this is going to continue now up pretty nicely. But you can see here, if you can see my chart, actually, I'm kind of not in the right space. Yeah, it's looking really, really good. And we've got how many 500 people has been trading. You got trade history, all the trades it takes. Position history, the last one's looking pretty good. People are making good money. This guy's up 3K in the last 7 days. Is this last updated about a month ago? This guy's got up 2,000. So people are making money with it, guys. This is a free tool as well. Where's my open positions? Yeah, this is going to be a nice one. This is long from exactly here. So this dotted line here, that's where it got long. I also have a manual trade open as well. 107 this is, and 108 manually. But like, if you go back on this video, you can see what I was saying about all the trades coming. There's a fuckload of trades coming. There's lots of trades open. Let me get down here 1 second. Let's have a look at Vikings thingamajiggies as well. So we've got a lot of orders above us. That's cool about Powell, though. I'm pretty interested in that. Got some nice support down here as well, where the longs, the magnet is probably going to come lower. Algo Master as well, guys. You know what to do. This is one of my flagship products in my company, MDX Algo. You can book a call as well, guys. We do have, if you're like on the fence with anything, any product that I sell, if you're on the fence with it and you're like, but is it for me? What do I do? How do I use it? Literally just ring us up. Sometimes even I take the calls. And it will be Stefan, who's just a chill dude. It's not going to be like some fucking crazy sales pitch. It's literally just like, what do you want to achieve? Here's what we offer. Here's how you can get there. If you want to buy it, you can buy it. If you don't fucking worry. We know that this ain't going to be for everybody. But what you do is you go to, I think it is in the description below. I think I put it in the description box. You can go below, and it should say, book a call with me and my team to discuss how we can help. So there's a link in the description to book a call. And even if you're just on the fence and just want some information, like seriously, like we're open. We probably have 5 calls, 10 calls maximum a day. And it literally, if you just want to have a conversation about like the indicators, the trading, we're open to just have a discussion. Like that's the whole game. My company's much more to do with, you know, having a real person. We don't use AI tools. We don't use AI in our customer service. We use real people all the time. You can ring us, have a chat with us, talk about what you think's good. Even look at mentorship. Like we have mentors who are ready to go. We like pair you up with mentors, so I don't make directly the money from it. Actually, what it is me just connecting you with a mentor, and then I just get a small cut of that for connecting the mentor. So essentially, we're operating in a peer-to-peer level where we're like an exchange for mentors now. We've always been like that, actually, to be honest. We've had that from the beginning, but it's just a bit more like, if you want a good mentor to... Our mentors are like this. You click on the academy, you click on mentors, and you can look at them all. So we have Will, Viking, we've got Trader Chris, who's super on the on-chain stuff and like altcoins. Trader StuTube is like the biggest fucking lower time frame. He calls himself a degen trader, but he actually has some really nice strategies, and he's been using the same tools for many years, and it all looks very good. Smern's our guy who does a lot of the TradFi, traditional finance stuff, stock market, looks at some on-chain data, fear and greed on the stock market, individual. Jack's our indicator specialist. He's a legend. He does a stream every single day. Young guy, hitting up those fucking indicators. He's a wizard around those bastards. He knows more about fucking probably my own indicator suite than I do. Jay, again, wizard of indicators, did a lot of our tutorial videos. Trader Zeus, he's a bot specialist, essentially. He's got an incredible strategy where he uses the bot. He uses Algo Master to trade Pax Gold. And I've seen some pretty interesting stuff on that side. Adrian, absolute G, the nicest guy in the world, will walk you through. This guy, it will go in the next fucking... We've got people who have been like, Adrian literally went above and beyond to give me what I needed. One-on-one attention, 24/7 chat with him if you need it. He'll show you the indicators. He knows that Eggle very well, who's our bot specialist. And this guy is basically half machine, half human. You know, you'll catch him in our fucking Discord. He might actually be doing one later today. You'll catch him in our Discord just doing crazy fucking... there's Adrian's session, Smern. Yeah, he's in there just doing wizardry shit with the Algo Master stuff. So if you guys are in our community, just go to this page here, MDX Bots, and you can literally see, hello, automate and die. Well done, Viking. Good man. Making some money. Automation is where it's at. This guy here, Dat Eggle, he literally just prints money with the fucking bots. And there is a technique to use the bots, because you wanna turn the bots on and off in intelligent times. But if you have any questions about bots, you go to this chat. It's called MDX Bot Setup, and De Eggle will get on a call with you. He'll jump in the chat. He's even in the chat right now with a guy. He's literally in there right now with Zeus. I would like to get this to click. If I click this, it will go in. But the problem is I haven't got my VPN on, so it won't let it work. And you can book a call here. Anyway, going on and on. Daily market updates are here, guys. So every day we do our videos, and Pro Signals is where you keep up to date with everything else. But this is the community legends. It's a core. Yeah, we got weird that Solana didn't really make an okay lay since 2 days ago. What do you mean by an okay lay? Solana. The reason Solana hasn't moved is because Solana has kept up, with the market. You have to remember that I see this a lot. A lot of people make this mistake. And I won't bore you guys to death with this specific analogy, because you guys probably already know it. But the lower something goes down in price, the easier it is for the percentage to look good. Because think about this. If something's at nothing, it takes only a small amount of money to double it, because it's nothing. To go from 1 to 2 is double, but it's the one number. 1 to 2 is 100% gain. 2 to 3 is not. Think about it. When the price of something goes very, very low, like CRO is a good example. Where is CRO? Yeah. So this move here is like a fucking 20, 30% move. Like, this is literally, from the low to the high, is a 34% move. Oh my god, Sol's up 34%. It's because it's at nothing. It's because it's fucking zero. And Solana hasn't really had a massive 30% move because it's not at zero. The price is kept up. The percentage is difficult. It's more difficult. You see this a lot with statistics, okay? So, and this is something which is, I actually only recently really critically thought about this point, because I've been a little bit umming and ahhing about whether it makes sense, but I think it makes sense. If you have short time frame projections of increases or decreases of certain things with a too short amount time horizon, the problem is that you begin to skew what you and other people think is good or bad relative to where you are. An example is this. If you look at generally speaking, violence and war has been going down for the last 2,000 years on a graph. It's only been going down. There's literally, the world has become safer, less violent, and less war. And because we can look back at our history, and you can look at this through basically mortality of not just civilian deaths, but also military arms deaths to the ratio of the population. So overall, generally speaking, the world is getting more and more peaceful, less and less violence for thousands of years. But if you only look at the last 4 years, you would look at it and say, oh shit, things are getting really bad. Because it says 60% more violent crime. There's been a 100% increase in wars. There's been a 300% increase in military spending. There's been, all of the numbers look bad. Everything's massively increasing in terms of what it looks like, the onset of potential new war, new issues. Also, the amount of money governments spend on military in US dollar terms is up. So, but it doesn't mean that it's actually up in value. So a lot of statistical analysis and analysts will say, but spending is up in the, spending has gone massively up since 1980. Well, yes, it's gone up in terms of the amount of dollars you're spending on it or pounds, but it's not gone up in the amount of value you're actually putting towards it, because people aren't taking into account that, yes, everything costs more today, but it's not like you don't go, spending on coffee has gone up by 80% since 1980. People used to spend $2 on a cup of coffee. Now they spend $10 on a cup of coffee. That means that aggregated, we are spending 80% more money on coffee. It doesn't mean that we're buying any more fucking coffees. It just means the price is higher. And that's the same with military spending. So my point is this, is like, because actually the world is significantly safer and significantly less crime, war, and death through military intervention over the last 5,000 years. It's like it was like 100 in a, like you in the medieval era, like the amount of homicides, murders going on consistently without war, and then war, you would wipe out 20% of a whole army. Like it was like the amount, the ratio to death to life was just unbelievable. Like in the medieval era, going back all the way, and then if you go to the Mongolian Empire, like fuck me, what they did, they wiped out whole civilizations. And then you go to the Japanese dynasties, where they would go in and just fucking samurai the fuck out of whole entire cities and towns. Like, this is crazy extents of death in relation to the amount of the population. Yes, there are spikes up and there are spikes down and up. For instance, the Japanese nuclear bombs, Second World War, First World War, there have been spikes, but the general trend has been down. My point is this, is that because actually, relative to the population of the planet, the chance of you dying in battle and war and violence and murder is much lower. There's a huge population now, and still, yes, 5,000 people are dying in Ukraine every week, but it's just in relative terms to the population, it's so insignificant. Not saying that it's not insignificant of the lives which are people who are dying. Each life is significant in its own right. I'm just saying the significance of the total population. The reason it all looks like it's getting so bad right now is because everything's coming from such a low point. For instance, CRO's up 34%, but it's because it's at zero. It's the same with what's going on with statistics. And also take into account that every single fucking year, they're like, oh my God, net spending is up. Oh my god, the debt to GDP ratio is up. Yeah, all these things are going up, but they're not necessarily getting any worse. For instance, we do spend more money on military, and we in the UK, for instance, but we don't have any more soldiers. You know, the more money is spent on the military just because the prices of things are going up. Everything needs to be linear down to inflation-adjusted charts. For starters, we're living in a fucking fugazi if we believe that what we're looking at on a chart is the actual value. It's not. We need to go... If everything was priced in Bitcoin and the full supply of Bitcoin was out in circulating supply, you would really, really begin to allow people to have a much clearer understanding of genuinely what the value of things are in comparison to the economic supply and demand. Because if the fucking money is, if you have sound principled fixed supply money, the difference in the price of things is only due to the value increasing or decreasing. We have to look at the lens of, well, what's the inflation rate? Because the price might be going up, but inflation was 8%, so it had to go up 8% to keep up with inflation, which means there's no increase in value. It's so many complications. But if you have a fixed supply asset which prices the market, you can genuinely see what the changes of value is. For instance, that's why gold and silver have been so good as money for thousands of years, is because if you go back to a fishing town in Egypt 3,500 years ago, maybe more, and you have to remember as well, interesting statistic I heard the other day, or I didn't hear it, I read it on ChatGPT, is that the Egyptian Empire, which was called, there was like the first and then the second and then the third, but the main Egyptian Empire, this is going on a little bit of a tangent here, legends, the pinnacle peak of the Egyptian Empire was not when the pyramids were built. The pyramids were built 2,000 years earlier by Egyptians in a much smaller time of economic prosperity and power. And the Egyptians, which we all know as the Egyptian Empire, which essentially was extremely military arms, massive economy, huge amounts of public international trade, that happened 2,000 years later. And a lot of the people in that specific empire would have looked back at the pyramids just like how we did, thinking, how the fuck did they build those? But they were in the actual Egyptian Empire. Anyway, I don't know why I went down that tangent. What was my point? You guys have to re-jog my memory now. I was talking about something else. I was talking about some sort of... I don't know. Oh yeah, gold and silver. Yeah, so the reason that these... looking at the fucking chart is definitely gold, so... yeah, the reason, there's... the reason the economy was so stable internationally during thousands of years of empires was predominantly because the inflation rate of gold was so low, because it was so difficult to mine, that it essentially had a fixed supply, apart from when there was industrial mining happening in some specific cases, like, for instance, the Egyptians, the Romans, the Byzantines, and there was some other, and the French came into it, and then mining came into it, and then obviously there was when you go back, the further back you go, the slower the inflation rate of gold was. So it meant that the more easy it was for individuals in the economy to price things and know what the true value of things were. Because at the moment, it's very difficult to know what the true value of things are. Because of the distortion of government-printed fiat currency. It creates a distortion. It creates a mechanism of... It makes it very blurry. You don't really know. Because firstly, the market decides on what the price is due to the new amount of circulating currency. But the issue is that it's very difficult to audit that 100% of the time. So sometimes things are rising in price because of catching up with inflation. But in other regards, things might be catching up in price just because the value is better. And it has more of a scarcity. For instance, a good example would be like, everyone thinks that technology is somehow deflationary. Well, this is fucking retarded. This is the most stupid thing I've ever heard in my life. What? No. Technology doesn't decrease the supply of the asset denominating the price of something. In technology, what it does is it means that there's a lower cost to produce more supply in that specific regard, which reduces the price of the thing because there's a higher supply outstripping demand, not changing the inflation rate. It's fucking retarded. Like, you're not in changing the inflation rate. The inflation rate is how many dollars are created and how many dollars are destroyed. Deflation, inflation, inflation, deflation. Technology isn't deflationary. Technology just means the price of things go down because there's more supply of those things. Because essentially technology makes it easier for you to produce a good and a service. That would be the same as saying that... I'm trying to think of an analogy which makes it obvious so that it's ridiculous. Yeah, it's like saying that slavery is deflationary because the cost of labor goes down. Like, no, that's fucking retarded. Slavery is not deflationary. Slavery is zero cost for labor because you don't have to pay the employee, which means you make more money, which means that there's more profit and loss. So it's like, that's when people say, oh, yeah, but technology is deflationary. That means that robots will be deflationary. That means that creating a robotic force of labor will be deflationary for the economy. It's not deflationary. It just means the prices will likely fall if labor costs aren't there and the cost to purchase the robot is less than the human being. So, like, that's why the prices are falling. It's not inflationary or deflationary. Inflation is increase of supply. Deflation is decrease of supply. Like, all these fucking dudes in the English Empire, yeah, we've got this massive deflationary force called slavery. It's like, no, bruv. Like, what are you talking about? That's absolutely redonkulous. The biggest battle in human history was in 1942. Yeah. You're going back to the point I was talking about with war. But you have to remember that the Second World War, in relation to the population size of the world, wasn't the worst. It wasn't the worst. You didn't have the highest probability of dying in the Second World War than you did in the Japanese dynasties, or the Ming dynasty, or the Mongolian Empire, or maybe even, I don't know if the English Empire would be a good example, because there was a lot of fucking shit happening there. There was the Battle of Trafalgar wasn't great for the French, was it? Yeah, but the Second World War, because of the excessive mass of death, millions of people were dying. Of course, it was tragic. It was, in terms of humane death, it was the most people who were dying, especially with the nuclear weapons and then obviously the fucking concentration camps, all that kind of shit. That was crazy. But it is a spike up. I've seen the chart. Like, there's a chart which says it's like general global homicide, death by military means murder rate. You can see a chart, right? It's much higher in the medieval era in ratio to the population. But there is a big spike up in the First World War and the Second World War. And the Second World War was a massive spike up. Like, it was crazy. We wiped out generations. You know, the baby boomers are the baby boomers for a reason. A lot of people who survived the fucking war decided it's time to have a load of kids because a lot of us got killed. And that's why we have the baby boomer generation. Because they want to have babies. We gotta repopulate, man. But yeah, the Second World War was absolutely crazy. And also the Second World War was like a kind of manufactured death. You know, there were tools. Obviously, you could say a sword is a weapon to manufacture to kill. I'd agree that's probably... I think all weapons are just I think all war is manufactured death. But I would say if you had... if you took agricultural farming and then you take factory farming, they're two different fucking things. And that's what... we went from medieval warfare to Second World War warfare. It was like taking the... You know, this sounds absolutely disgusting, but taking the means of death and turning it into a farming factory, farming death on a mass scale, which was absolutely ridiculous. Like, those guns they had, I think they're called MP40s. Like, what? Like, that thing. Like, even today, that's like a really dangerous weapon. And like, we have crazy shit now. We have like laser guns and Gatling cannons and shit. Even that gun, even today, is just like you walk into a fucking mall with that and let that thing off. It's still just as dangerous, if not even more crazy than it was back then. It's literally just like a... But it's actually ridiculous what we built as humans. We built like a device which you put in bits of metal and you hold a button and it fires them out of the end of a fucking cylinder. So insane, Legends, what we did. What is that, bro? Like, it's crazy. Just a cylinder with metal shards flying out of it. At 100, I think it's... What's the speed of a bullet? Let me chat GPT it. How fast do bullets fly from an MP40? I think it's an MP40. I don't know exactly if that's the right weapon. Yeah, it's exactly right. The MP40, which is the Mashchin Epastel. The Mashchin Epastel gun. It was a Second World War German submachine gun. Bruv, what? Approximately 380 meters per second, which would be 1,247 feet per second. Rate of fire was 550 rounds per minute. Effective range is around 150 meters. Bruv, like, just relax, guys. Like, seriously, if we want to go down... And that was in a time where it was all mechanical machinery. It wasn't like electricity involved. It was just hitting the end of a bullet with a little bit of whatever's in a bullet, a gunpowder or whatever it is, explosive. It was a little mechanical explosive device happening, firing off these things. Nowadays, you have these Gatling cannons. Have you seen those things on the end of ships? I'm going to bounce, by the way. I've done 2 hours. There's a Gatling cannons which can shoot like even more than that, which is just ridiculous. But if you get shot by that, essentially you get shredded in half. An MP40 would just be insane. Having said that, this will be a question for the chat, and it's a little bit of a dark question, but it would be quite interesting to see what you guys think. If you had to fight in a war, and let's call them eras, the era of warfare, which era of warfare would you choose to fight in? Would it be like, let's just call it medieval warfare, swords and shields? Would you fight in imperial warfare? Let's call that like cannons and muskets. Or would you want to fight in the Second World War or First World War style or modern warfare? Which one would you prefer? Because medieval would be fucking brutal as well. I would probably choose... I'd probably choose like muskets and cannons. Because the Second World War was so brutal what they did. With the flamethrowers and shit. Oh. And then modern warfare today is mental. You get blown up by a drone. And, you get bombed by an absolute massive bomber, which looks like a fucking hawk in the sky. I'd probably say the musket imperial era. Because medieval would have been nuts. Imagine just getting like a fucking arrow in your head. Or a sword thrusted inside you. I know what that feels like. Through my surgery. The MP40 was known as the Ripper. Yeah, I know. APAR 4 golf course per second. Medieval. Someone said medieval. Ballistic engineering is wild. World War I was brutal with gas. Ugh. Modern for sure. Put me in a shipping container controlling a drone from overseas. Well, I'm... Okay, fair. Yeah, that would probably be, good for you as the person who's perpetrating the drone. But imagine being on the other end of the drone. That would be a pretty dark way to go. Is there a party without me? The Video Kingdom, we're doing a little bit of a watch party right now. Been streaming for a couple of hours, keeping it pretty fresh. What do you see on the pi cycle indicator? That's actually a good question. And the indicator, it's I think it's, these are all my indicators actually. So it's the pi cycle, isn't it? It's still probably around pi cycle Bitcoin top indicator. We can bring it up on this chart. I don't know if it's going to be... Oh, this is just the one where it just has like the signal. I'm pretty sure you can get the lines on though. Show moving averages. There we go. So the PI cycle. Ooh, that's pretty darn nice. If we go there, I'm actually going to save this again because I do think it's a pretty good tool. How do I save it to favorites? Add to my allowed alert. Yeah, it's got a pretty good hit rate. Obviously, this chart isn't ideal. I'm actually going to delete it off this chart and go on to my Bitstamp chart, which goes back a lot further. Wait, why is that there now? Ah, because that's supposed to be on the 1 hour for Binance, isn't it? That's my Binance chart for the bot. So let's go to this chart. This doesn't go any further back. This one might do. Let's have a quick look on the monthly. No, this is actually even less. This one should be fine. You have to go on Bitstamp basically to get the long-term price action, but this should be fine. We don't have to go all that way back. It should be in here somewhere. So you double-click it, guys. If you've got this indicator, just click on that, and it shows you the lines, which gives you more of an idea of where it's going to go. So if this does play out, we know that the pi top cycle indicator hasn't just got it the right candle on the weekly. It did it, multiple times in history as well, even this one. So if you line that up, it's pretty much the top. So yeah, it's pretty darn fucking. It's a long way off. $174,000. Pretty epic at this point, but the red line is not going to get there just yet. So depending on how long it's going to take, that might go like this. Let's just say that's the trajectory we're going to do, and it crosses here. You could be looking at that 200K mark. What I've said is between 142 and 206 is what we're going to get. But yeah, the PI top cycle indicator it's interesting. It's also in this index on CBBI. I'm pretty sure they may have taken it out. Yeah. So there it is. Yeah. So it is in this index. So the pi top cycle indicator is 56% of the way there. The pi top cycle indicator is in this index. Ultimately, I will go with the index over the one indicator, just because you're essentially bringing, a few more variants into the equation to increase the probability. But again, I don't think we're at the top of the bull market. We're at 79 on the CBBI. We're not there yet, legends. I don't think. And this is a good chart, though, if you're a perma bullish legend. It's just articulating the fact that, yeah, we're looking like the price will probably increase quite a lot. The degree that the moving averages have crossed has greatly decreased over time. I'm not sure what you mean there, BC. When they cross, that's when the indicator fires. It doesn't matter how frequent it is, doesn't matter how infrequent it is. That's not what it's designed to do. All it means if it crosses at a later stage and takes longer to cross than the prior cycle just means the bull market was longer. If it holds true to actually playing out. But we've got a long way to go for those two moving averages to play out. And it is very interesting how when they both cross, in history it's done it 3 fucking times and it's been bang on the money. But it doesn't necessarily mean the velocity of when they happen changes anything. It's actually irrelevant to the indication, I'd say. But derivative have been getting less and less each cycle. Got it just to one last cycle. Well, look, I need to look into that Because if you look at the exchanges and you look at the derivatives volume, this is, you obviously this is just going like the last 7 fucking days. But these exchanges are the exchanges that, look, there's some wash trading happening, but these exchanges are pretty big in the space. So whether they're wash trading 10, 20, 35, whatever percent, it's still, these are the biggest exchanges. And there are some other ones as well, which should be on the list as well, especially with some dexes. But ultimately, if you come to this website, you can see that we're doing $141 billion on Binance, predominantly driven by altcoin trading. CoinW, 60 billion. To be honest, there's going to be a lot of wash trading on there. Again, OKX, Bybit, all of these ones are all around 50 billion. They're all competing, though, just to put their numbers a little bit higher than each other, so they go up higher on lists and they wash trade. So, like, there's a little bit of skew here. Mexi definitely doing it. BingX is doing it. They're all doing it. But I'm saying, like, overall, this is hundreds and hundreds of billions. This is probably $250, $300 billion. The market is being determined by derivatives still, predominantly. Even though Chicago Mercantile, the CME, and, Viking does a very good job of articulating the points on the CME on his charts, we do see that a lot of the volume is moving into institutional hands, has been bought by ETFs, is moving into the hands of the institution. And I would say we have a chart for that, don't we? Actually, well, you could probably look at it here as well. So you go into my group, you click on Bitcoin Treasuries. You can see that the inflow of treasuries is just happening every day. So, like, for instance, we've got an increase of supply. There's only a small amount of Bitcoin went in. So, since the ETF started, we have 1.4 million Bitcoin. Let's just scroll back as far as possible and just see what the number was here. 1.1 million. 1.136 million. This was 2025. This was like fucking a few months ago. So let's just go right the way back. This has been going, I've had this on for years. 590,000 Bitcoin in 2024 is in institutional hands. Scroll it to today. I could have just jumped to present. Now we have 1.4 million Bitcoin held by institutions. So this is a combination of ETFs, family offices, hedge funds, private companies, public companies, and it also takes into account some DeFi products. Countries as well, sorry. Don't want to forget countries. So yeah, like, fucking what? Like, if we get to 2 million, it's 10%. Actually, well, it's more. Sorry, that's ridiculous. We're already at about 14% at where we're at. If you look at the circulating supply of Bitcoin, we haven't got 21 million circulating yet. So 2.1 million Bitcoin in institutional hands at a 21 million circulating supply would be, obviously, that'd be the right number. But I'm saying what you have to account is we have about 17, 18 million out there. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. This is you can monitor this, guys, from here, and you can also monitor this from, if you go to Traders Group, click on alerts. I'm pretty sure we got it set up. Maybe we haven't got it set up actually at the moment. We've got all the Algo Master ones. I'll probably get this actually added. At the moment, you can just see where the Algo Master is buying and selling all of the time. I'm going to change that to, say, just Sense 5 instead of Sensibility 5 or Settings 5. We should change that word to Settings. I think I can do that from in here as well. Yeah, we can change that. Viking, if you're watching, change it from sensitivity to settings. Commodities, let's have a look at the Algo Master. Anyway, all these are all the alerts with the indicators. You can monitor it from, I'll add it to the portal as well, actually. I think that's a good thing to do. But Bitcoin treasuries, there's a lot of Bitcoin, guys, in the treasuries. A lot of Bitcoin. Pretty epic. Yeah, it's a good. I'll leave the pie top cycle indicator there. I will actually get rid of the big red fucking dot because we don't need it. I don't know if I can get rid of it. That's probably annoying. I'll probably go style, and then you can probably take off labels. Oh. Why won't it delete, sire? Aha! Look at that. What I'll probably do as well is I'll make them a slightly different color, just so they blend in a little bit, you know, into the infrastructure of my chart. The infrastructure of my chart. Wow. Really chatting some breeze out here, aren't we, legends? This line can be a little bit less prominent because it's never going to have the price over it. And then the green line is really what we're looking for. We're waiting for that green line to cross this line. That's what we know. It's more like the Morpheus settings, you know? But yeah, so it's all looking pretty interesting, legends. Yeah, the bot is, you got the Quintin Botty Bot mod. Legend, can you... Oh, shit. Didn't mean that. What does that even look like when I do that? It doesn't do anything. So, yo, Legend, I'm going to tweet to you. Okay, you can tweet to me, bro. Tweet to me, young sire. And hit the subscribe button if you're new. Legend, can you inform us about the updates on the indicators, especially AlgoMaster? The tutorials are pretty old now, and it doesn't reflect how the indicators look like today. That's not entirely true, mate. We did an indicator update recently. Let me just quickly check. I'm pretty sure the indicator is pretty much exactly the same. It's probably because the colors, maybe because the color schemes have changed. But if you go to AlgoMaster, you know, it looks like that, and pretty much the same. There have been a few slight tweaks for sure. We update them consistently all the time. In terms of the logic, there are some changes. In terms of the way they look, it's probably not that much different. Let me explain to you some of the things. So the update we did recently was due to the fact that TradingView isn't a static product, which is annoying. They change things. They change internal metrics. They change code. They change PineScript stuff. They changed logic. So what we did is we had to change some of the ways that the indicators calculate their variance within them to make it so the botting would work again, because the bots stopped working. They didn't stop working, actually. That's I'm making that sound too crazy. Everyone's bots always worked, but when we did the update, you had to update them to make them work because we had to change a few things. And really what it's down to the way you set up your autopilot. So you go inputs, autopilot mode. You can now change the net profit and win rate. We recommend leaving on profit factor because that's what we're here to do. Net profit and win rate are slightly different. Win rate is for if you're doing more, say, scalp trading, lower time frames. Anyway, we'll keep it on profit factor with autopilot. And now what you can do is you can actually connect the signals. So you go to alerts, you click on it, you set up an alert on it, which would be add an indicator strategy on MDX Algo, or you do add alert on MDX Algo Master, and then you can connect that to, if you go to indicator tutorials and you watch this video, you can connect it as a bot. So it'll trade automatically for you. We also have, obviously, the trading bots, but what I would recommend doing is reading this. So you just read this little thing here, and it'll explain to you all the different bots we offer. So you have the MDX Algo trading bot, which is the Hodl Bot. You have the Hodl Bot, and then you have in contrast, you have the indicator strategies, which is the Algo Master bots, and then yada, yada, yada. You can read through everything here. But you can see Hodl Bot, Algo Master bot. And then you have the alerts for it as well. So it's slightly different now, but the indicators are super, super valuable, guys. You know, if you're already profitable, they'll help you become more profitable. And if you're not profitable, use the indicators, because at least if you're not making money, at least you're genuinely getting the right direction. And if you just have a few different variants, use Algo Master with Wave Master and just slowly use it with your own technique. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you can take the tools that I've created in trading and you close your eyes and click and make thousands and thousands and millions of dollars, okay? Obviously, that's not the case. With the bots, you will make money, but bots are bots, so they take time to make you money. I haven't got a magic pill of a trading bot that can make you $1 million in tomorrow. I've made myself millions of dollars over 10 years of doing these strategies, okay? Takes time. Because obviously, you know, who are you going to be taking $1 million off tomorrow if you're trading? You're only going to be getting that if you're using excessive risk. So you got to take time. You got to beat the market slowly. But the idea is that you want to use these tools to make it so you can then come to the market when you want to, play high probability setups. You can play the trades when you see them. You can have the bots running. You can use the, you know, this has taken my bot, which is I've been using for now, how long? Like, how long have I been using this for? I've had it probably running, obviously this is public from 2020, but I don't know, it was probably 2016. It's been a long time. But this has made 8,000% gross profit and lost 6,000. So the gross would be, sorry, the net profit is 2,000. It's saying NA right now because it's not in a trade. But you can see here, guys, very simple put. You can just track it. You know, this bot has beaten Bitcoin all the way in its whole history. So all of this time, you've managed to beat Bitcoin significantly. You put $10,000 in, you'd have 250K today. If you had to put $10,000 in without the bot, you'd probably have 100K. So instead of having 100, you made 90,000. You made 100% more money. So you would have made money with Bitcoin, but you would have made 100% fucking more, and you would have made 2,500% if you go back to 2020. So it's crazy the kind of stuff. The only magic pill you can take, guys, is, I won't even say it on stream. Welcome to OG Legende. Welcome, Video Kingdom. What's going on, man? You got yourself your badge again, brother. Bring up the badges. Back in the game. I'm a very old trader. Old enough to be most popular grandpa award. That's epic, man. It's good to see people who stick in their industries for many, many years. Trading, as you probably well know, being in the game for a long time, it has a very, very high churn rate. People come in, make a lot of money, then lose it all. They come in, lose a lot of money, don't continue. They get too excited about a market, bet the whole horse and the whole fucking, you know, the house. Bet the horse. They bet on the wrong horse with the house. And then they end up losing all their money, and it's one of those industries where you have to be hit down on your face a couple of times. But like most industries, to be honest, like there's not money things. But I've been doing it for a very long time as well. And even if I have periods where I don't trade, like I go away for a few months or 3 months, I always end up coming back to the charts, because charts have so much more of a story than just, you know, making money. They are interesting in the fact that they're always different. They're always unique. They always have slight different, you know, they're quirky. They reveal the nature of reality in a lot of cases, unlike a lot of different industries, which is all a mask with virtue signaling and bollocks and lies and deceit and dissent and human emotions. The charts don't fucking lie, legends. You get someone who's like, Bitcoin's valueless, has no intrinsic value. Well, you're just a lying, ignorant idiot. Because right now, the market values it and prices it at $117,000. So it's just like a matter of fact. It's just like the ultimate a matter of fact. Well, you know, the facts are actually that the price is trading here, and it's been doing this for 10 years. It's in an uptrend. It's actually going down a drawdown period at the minute. So it's a matter of fact. It's like, shut the fuck up. Just shut up. I don't care what you're saying. Look at the chart. It's the reality. This is what the market's decided. You're wrong, because that's what the market shows. And that's been very, very good in not just making money, but just having a contextual idea of what's going on in the world. And understanding like what value is and money is and how value works and operates and the difference between value and price and all these different things, which is like, even today, I find myself scratching my head being like, fuck, this took me 10 years to get all this knowledge. Like, it's just such a long time, you know, for most people to get any real understanding on financial markets. And most people, they don't even trade, they just gamble. It's very, very positive. And also it drills home a lot of psychological traits, which I think are very powerful for just genuinely speaking life. You know, it's like it enforces a lot of discipline. You have to be very bored for long times. You have to stick to your strategy. You have to have confidence. You have to be in control of your emotions. You have to be able to control a lot of like different variants within your own personality. Because I know a lot of traders who they just like they don't have the core attributes which would make them a good trader easily. You find a lot of people who get into trading actually sometimes have almost attributes and personality traits or character traits that might not seem very, you know, they might not seem as though that would fit a trader. And the cool thing is that if you trade for a long period of time, it actually can make you and sculpt you into a better person in the fact that, say you have like a gambling problem, or you have an addiction issue, or you have the tendency to get to bet too much, or you don't concentrate, or you can't focus, or all these things like which a lot of people have. Like trading can be kind of a therapeutic way of being able to harness the ability to do those things, because you find a lot of guys who are super nerdy, intelligent, mathematical based, just procrastinate, can't take a trade, no confidence behind their positions, and they just can't make it work. And you get someone who's like a little bit rough around the edges, maybe takes a little bit of a gung-ho approach, takes a little bit too much risk, and ends up being successful. And you're like, what the fuck? And you realize that trading is a very deep synergy between lots of different things. And everyone's like, oh, but you know, the typical trader you think of is like a guy wearing a suit who's extremely good at maths and he's Asian or he's British. Trader, the United Kingdom has the highest ratio to individuals who work as professional traders of any country on the planet, Japan and the United Kingdom. 260,000 registered professional traders in the United Kingdom. That's crazy. So, like, you would think of it like that. But actually, when you get down to the nitty-gritty, it's kind of similar to business and entrepreneurship. Having all the knowledge is only half the battle. Actually, it comes down to a lot more of the time being successful in business is about courage, ingenuity, being able to stand up for what you believe, confidence. Anyway, rattling on again about something, but it's just, yeah, you never really know. But if you are something like this or you're something like that, if you're either end of the spectrum, trading can kind of bring you a little bit more into the middle. Like let's just say you're a crazy, you gamble, you're a bit addicted to shit, and you get high addictive personality traits. Trading can bring you back a bit if you do it properly. Let's just say you're a little bit too timid. You don't know how to take the confidence. You don't understand how to go with your analysis and stay true and stay disciplined onto what you're doing. That could kind of bring you back into the middle. I feel it can humble you in a way that can like bring you into a more rounded person. Trading financial markets sounds ridiculous, and most industries will probably do that to you along the way. But if you play golf professionally, I would say it's maybe a little bit less full circle on the amount of things you have to learn if you want to be a professional, successful trader. Maybe. Or maybe not. No, I think so. Even though it does encompass some of the same things, but there's not as much real pressure on you when it comes to playing golf. Maybe if you're a high level, it is. But if you lose a game of golf, you lose a game of golf. But if you lose all your fucking money trading, it's a big problem. But I suppose you could have bet all your money on the last Grand Tour or whatever it is. Ain't a legend until you get the OG legend. It's true. I genuinely, that's the rule. If you ain't got the badge, everyone's got a badge. If you come into my community, everybody's got a freaking badge. You go to the chat, you scroll up, look, badge, ultimate member. Adrian is a mod staff. He should be a mentor actually. Now, shouldn't say mod staff. It should say mentor. Lamsky is MDX boss. MDX Lensky is me. We have a mentor here. Mentor, Jack the Ripper's all in the gaff. We've got a legend here, Ultimate Member. Coins and Music's legend, met at my event, absolute genius. Technical staff. We need to get Adrian turned into a mentor. He's been with us for many years now. Anyway, yeah, this is the chat. The changing expectations between men and women. Interesting. There's a lot of guys in our chat right now, actually, in the trading chat. So if you come into our Discord, you can join this right now, guys, if you want. So what else have we got in the chat? I'm going to do a little bit longer. I think we're getting to the time now where I probably will bounce. In terms of my company, guys, MDX Algo, go check it out. We've opened up a lot of stuff. You can go sign up for free as well. And in terms of exchanges, if you are looking for good exchanges, go to the links in the description and use Phemex. I would recommend using Phemex right now to trade Bitcoin and crypto. Good exchange, and it's got no restrictions, unlike some other exchanges. Yo, Ultimate Member. We don't need no stinking badges, sir. True. I agree. Well, you do have a badge. You're an Ultimate Member. What are you fucking talking about? Brother, listen to me right now. You got a fucking badge. Whether you got a badge in the fucking chat or in Discord, if you're an Ultimate Member, you got Zed badge, brother. I'm old enough to be in doubt every time I see a mum and a daughter together. Wait, what? I'm old enough to be in doubt every time I see a mum and daughter together. Interesting. Not sure what that means. I remember your channel from many cycle ago. You kept building and left the country to stay active. Not many in the space can say that. I remember your channel from many cycles ago. Yeah, you kept building and left the country. Yeah, man. I left England like in 2020. No, the summer of 2019. I left England for good. And I had even been kind of bopping in and out during 18 as well. But I left for good on 2019. So it's been... Shit, it's been like 6 years. Is it? 5, 6 years. I think next summer it'll be 6. So that's crazy. And I kind of left. I was bopping in and out from then onwards as well, even before that. So it's probably been like a decade if you take into account like trying to like generally move. Because yeah, I left for a bit before as well, didn't I? Anyway, so MDX nailed the 108k long boss. Yeah, it was a really nice position. I'm still in that trade actually. I'm in multiple trades. I'm in my Algo Master is long from here, so you can see if you go to, sorry, not Algo Master, my bot, if you put on the labels, you can see that there's a long here as well. So this is my automated strategy, which is trades in the background. That long there, oof, caught the whole move. So that long is great. And then also I have the position which holds in Pro Signals. I posted this to everyone. If you're missing my signals, you just have to come here. By the way, we're gonna have it so this slider, for some reason, it always goes back to the top. Where tonight this will change. The scrollers will always be at the bottom. So yeah, you can see here, guys. I was calling this for a long time. Here, the bounce trades to. I actually called it over a week ago now. Let's keep going back. Even Will was calling this. Yeah, so you can see pretty easy, guys. 108 bounce trade buff. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. I actually probably will retweet that as well. Just to be like, yeah. Look at this guy, legends. The man who sold all of Germany's Bitcoin. He looks like the most German motherfucker as well. Like, look at his face. Look at his hair. Look at his glasses. Look at his non-existent neck. He is the most German dude I've ever seen in my life. I just think Germany is just shit. Like, Germany is the shittest country. Years and years of war. Socialist to the degree of massive central government. They tax you into oblivion. They don't believe in freedom. They're not libertarian in any way. They haven't got libertarian in their blood. The Berlin Wall, everybody went. Everyone went west. Like, what is going on? They literally learned. They literally learned that like communism and the fascist regimes and the central governments of the world and the big coordinated systems of power, big government basically, doesn't work with the Berlin Wall. And now they've gone down that road completely again. Blind, massive taxation, very low liberty of human rights to have freedom, lots of rules, regulations, difficulty to get through government, through companies and business. The only thing they've got going for them is sauerkraut. The only thing the Germans have got is sauerkraut. And I fucking love sauerkraut. And I do like some of their food. But if this is the result, England's bad, okay? The United Kingdom is bad in a lot of respects, but I have to say, I would rather live in England than fucking Germany. Shit me. So yeah, this was the tweet I did. I actually posted it. Yeah, so this was the bounce trade. We got it. Bada bing, bada bong. This was just as it was happening, and then I did another post saying, "Oh my god, we're up 2.2%," and I showed everyone the post. Oh yes, 2.2%. Well, it's not 2.2% anymore, legends. It's actually a lot more than that, and we can work out exactly what it was because I got into 108k, a little bit lower. So we're looking at like a fucking 11% move, and also legends, my bot, the Hodl Bot, as per usual, is in position as well, up 9%. So the money's good. The money is good, and these are all positions on top of spot bags, and the yield I'm getting from my spot in terms of, so it's all good. Money's good right now. Money is very good. The cashish is coming in. Feel very comfortable financially. I just bought a house in Dubai. I bought an apartment in the Cayenne Tower, which we're going to refurb. I am going to slowly move into some real estate stuff. So I do believe that it's good to diversify on some level. And also, if you buy a few properties, you're getting that cash yield, as well as you have somewhere to live if you really need to, which obviously is, if Bitcoin nukes into oblivion tomorrow, I'd still, own $1 million property. So that's all good. I hate Germans. Yeah, no, I don't hate the German people. I think Germans are pretty pragmatic. They're intelligent. The masses, like in terms of just the people, are nice people, but they're just like economically stupid. They don't believe in liberty. They haven't got very good core values of what I believe really determines a happy life or a happy society. I don't see many people who are. When I went to Germany myself, I lived in Berlin. It's just a very negative, depressing place. I genuinely believe that. Even the buildings, the structure of the buildings, it's very harsh corners and, not very good for mental. Like if you go to like Bali and everything's curved and bamboo and nice and like natural, you just feel good. But Germany's so square, block, line, cut corner. It's just not good for your mental state. But I do like the people. I do have some good friends who are German, and they actually do have a good sense of humor. But they just don't have, I don't think, a grasp on what brings true liberty, freedom, happiness to the core of what humanity really is in terms of fucking the natural nature of what humans want. Because all humans want to be free, not have over-complex rules and regulations on top of them. They want to be able to trade voluntarily and be able to make decisions when they believe those decisions are important. But that's the opposite of Germany. Big central government who tell you what to do. They taxate you to the degree where you feel like you're a complete burden. So they take a lot of your assets and your money, so you haven't got freedom. There isn't really the freedom of exchange, really. There's a lot of regulation which get in the way of you being able to freely exchange with others. And also the weather's shit. And the fucking society as a whole is just... Oktoberfest is good. They do have that. But if you want to go drink beer, go to Somerset in the United Kingdom. Go to Dorset. Go to the Dorset Steam Fair. Go to Lavatory Festival. Go to the southern west of the United Kingdom. Go to Cornwall. I promise you, it's better. They have incredible ales. We have such a great amount of different types of beers, ales, stouts. We have Guinness style. Obviously, Guinness is Irish, but we'd encapsulate that in the United Kingdom, even though it is. I think it's either Dublin or Belfast. It's one of the fucking. It's probably Dublin. I don't know, but it's Irish. I like ladies at Oktoberfest. Yeah, they do. They are good looking. The German chicks are hot. I'll give them that, but they're a bit aggressive. Actually, that's quite similar to a lot of fucking European chicks. But I would say they're a bit like. They're a bit. I like the clothes Oktoberfest, but they're a bit mental. Belgium is the same. Yeah, I want to go to Hungary. I've heard good things about Hungary. Somerset in the UK. Yeah. Well, not in the summer. I'm saying in the summer. Obviously, it's going to be a bit wet and rainy in the winter. But in the summer, it can be pretty good. Drink beer, come to Portugal. Yeah, I Superboc, yeah, and Sagres. I am going to go back to Portugal. I do like Portugal. It's a little bit overrun with tourists. The tourism is a bit like, okay, relax. But it's a good place. Superboc. I remember Max screaming Super Boca. Yeah, I remember the Super Bockies. Yeah, I remember that was some good shit, man. The Super Bockies was a good time. And also the Sagres. There's a big divide. There's the fundamental systemic divide between the Super Boca and the Sagresa. And they don't mix. It's like water and oil. They don't fucking mix. And yeah, I would say that probably on a nice summer's evening on a date with a chick, go for the Sagresa. Sagres. If you are going out with the boys and getting lit, you don't give a fuck, you're up for the big one, you get the Super Boca. Anyway, I'm probably going to bounce, Legends. It's like 1:30 for me. Yeah, I'm alright, man. I'm around. I'm back in the game. Just chilling, really. Watching Z price of Z Bitcoin. Long stream, though. Pretty woman in Germany is called tourists, broski. Yeah, I think you're probably right. I like German chicks. I don't know. I'm getting into like Persian chicks at the moment, like Persian princesses. I think I'm just gonna go against the grain. I want an Iranian Persian princess. I mean, I feel like that's my next thing. Like, they are ridiculous in terms of like stunning, like works of art. Obviously, I have a soft spot for like Eastern European chicks. You know, I've had a few Ukrainian girlfriends in my time. Some Russies, obviously English chicks. My girlfriend when I was young, it was obviously English. I had like 3 English chicks, and then I've been partying with a load of like, you know, fucking, when I was in Lagos and shit, there was a few. There was a German chick, a blonde German chick. Can't remember her name. She was quite hot. Then there was, we had some fun and games in Portugal with some Latinas. I'm in a period right now, Legends. Like, it's kind of crazy. I think I'm in like the Goldilocks zone for a male. Like, in terms of my dating ability. Like, just any woman who I see is just interested. Like, it's like they could be 50 or they could be fucking 18. It's crazy. Like, it's just that every chick who looks at me is just like interested in me, just smiling, being nice. I'm just like, okay, yo, what's cracking? Like, I just get a lot of attention in the female realm, and it's definitely more today than it's been, you know, when I was 22. Well, I think it's just a combination of, because women date up, and as you get older, you open, the more women are attracted to you because women date up. They don't really date down. A 30-year-old chick doesn't date like a 21-year-old. It can happen, but it's unlikely. It's more the other way around. A 30-year-old dude is dating the 21-year-old chick. So it's like the dude dates down, the chick dates up. And at the moment, like 32 years old, I think you're in the Goldilocks zone because you're like kind of in that perfect period where all the 20-year-old chicks are interested because you're older. But also then the older chicks, like the 38s and the 40s, they're all like, they're not dating as much up. They're like, but I don't want a 50-year-old. So I'm just in the Goldilocks zone. It's probably the same as how a 25-year-old good-looking woman feels when they're like, okay, between 23 and 25, a chick probably comes into their ultimate, period. That can change though. Some chicks get hotter when they're older. Some chicks are hotter when they're younger. It just depends. But I'm saying like between 23 and 25, they're probably in their Goldilocks zone. And you probably ask a chick at 23, 25, like, do you feel like a lot of men? I would say that every male, whether they're 18 or 50, are just nice to a 23 to 25-year-old chick who's hot. Obviously, if they're just a fat, obese, horrible person, then probably not. But if they're hot and they're nice and they're just genuinely a good person, then every single dude is just going to be nice to that chick between 23 and 25. That's not the same for men, though. Men at 23 to 25, they don't get respected as much. You can, and I was always pretty easy with that. I was actually dating a chick when I was 23 who was like 38 at one point. It was crazy. She was like fucking. She was called Vixie. She was a MILF. It's hilarious. But I'm saying where I'm at now, at 32, I think it's the Goldilocks zone. Between 32 and 35 is the Goldilocks zone. Like simply put, like there is no chick who I meet who is not just ridiculously nice to me for no reason. And also, another factor is that a lot of the time they're messaging me, and that's not been the case in the past. I usually message chicks to try and get them interested in me. But now I've got chicks messaging me a lot of the time. And yeah, it's a good position to be in. I'm not the kind of guy though I'm actually not like really the kind of dude who like just goes out banging loads of chicks all the time. I'm actually much more into building a decent relationship and actually knowing the person and I'm actually much more to do with their personality. Obviously looks have to be a factor, but I don't make friends very easily. I already have a lot of friends. It takes me time to build good relationships. So I'm not just like banging loads of random chicks. I literally, if I wanted to, could go and bang a chick every single night. But I just don't. I'm with Mariana as well, who's a great chick. Mariana's amazing. Between 35 and 50 is the best phase. Well, I think 50 is getting on a bit. Because when you get to 50, the 18-year-old chicks are out of the equation. At 32, they're not. So I'm saying 32, there will be chicks who are 18 years old who will be interested in me. 100%. I've seen it a million times when I go clubbing. Even crazily, this sounds mental, but I remember I went into a lift the other day and a family came in, right? A father, a mother, and two young girls. I had no idea how old they were. And they were probably younger than that. And they were at the other side of the lift, staring at me and giggling. And I'm talking lower than like 18. Like, that's to me like, what the fuck? Like, this is crazy. Like, I'm even getting it so like the underaged ones. It's literally crazy. I'm walking around and you got like fucking 60-year-old chicks, and I'm getting into a lift, and I'm just on my phone chilling, and there are these two, probably the daughters of this family, looking at me, giggling, and looking at each other. Hey, I'm just like, okay, chill. Like, fucking, are you gonna catch me on a fucking court case? Like, relax. Like, it's crazy, guys. I'm seriously not joking. I'm just being completely open and honest with you. It's actually fucking crazy, and like, it obviously feels good, but I'm just not that kind of guy. If I wanted to, I could go and do it, but it's a lot of effort, and I've been around. I've been around the block. Like, I fucking done shit, been around, fucking, I actually went on my Facebook account the other day because there's loads of old pictures from when I was like, from the ages of 16 up to 21, maybe less. And I just looked at these pictures like, fuck me. Like, I actually was an absolute player even back then. Get drunk, man. You, yeah. I need to get. I'm gonna leave the stream anyway now. Fucking knackered. Some guy laughing. Someone said this is weird, brother. If you can't handle the truth, I'm just being real with you, bro. Young girls are trouble. Well, I think young girls and guys are trouble. Young people are trouble, like I was when I was young. Even though I kind of feel still like I am. The world has changed. Men are being hunted down. I feel the victim nowadays. Diary of a leggy in full flow. And I love it. It's the wave hairstyle. I'm giggling too sometimes. Bruv. If you're a dude, that's gay. If you're a chick, fair play. Dubai is the place to be for ladies. Nah, well, there's a lot of women here for sure. But whether the women here are here for all of the right reasons is another question. I would arguably say that it's quite transactional, and there's probably quite a lot of women here who are here for specific reasons. Hunting down the male rich, the rich male. Probably not looking for exactly the personality traits, just for the wallet traits. Which is probably the same as just a dude going out and banging hot chicks. You know, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I'm not gay. Downtime, great. Enjoy while you're young. Anyway. Yeah, I think that's true. People just not used to someone being honest. That's why a gay person would say. Yeah, man, yeah. If you really think about it, guys, if everyone, when they first do anything public facing, they always try and dampen down the things that they say because they're either worried about what people might think of them or they want to put out a good impression. Okay? That's why people go on videos and streams and they do things that aren't really them. But if you really think about the psychology of that and what that really means, it means that deep down you are a virtue signaling piece of shit. And I know it's hard to hear that because I even used to do that. Because you just don't want to seem like you're a bad guy. That's fucking gay. Like, just be you and talk as though you're you. Because you are you. And stop pretending you're not you to try and look like you're something else. Because that's fucking shit. Why are you trying to look like you're something else? Why would you talk to me in a certain way when you're one-on-one with me and then change who you are when 100 people are watching you who you don't know? That's virtue signaling, and that's being a coward, and that's being a spineless fucking twerp. Who cares? Why do you want to look a different way to someone else? Nah. Niet harasho. Not good. Yeah, at the very beginning, I understand that, you know, your family's watching, your friends are watching, and you have a little bit of, like, if you do anything public facing, like public speaking, or you go on stream and like even doing a stream in front of 100 people or 1,000 people, yeah, there's always going to be a period at the very beginning, especially when you're young. I was doing my first streams, you know, I don't know, like 10 years ago. So like, it's been a while, but I was saying like, there's always going to be an element of that where you're a little bit like tentative at the start, but you have to always try and shift to who you are and not put out a fake persona, because you see a lot of people do that on YouTube. I'd say probably a lot more people than you would expect are completely not who they are online to who they actually are in real life. And we've had ups and downs, like, you know, sometimes when I'm drunk on stream, that's probably a little bit too much. And when I was drunk at my event as well, at the end of my event, I was so drunk, I can't even remember anything. I was being fucking rude to loads of people. So that, again, that's not really the same. Anyway, I got to bounce. Yeah, these are good critiques. I would be worried if she stayed under. Young girls looking at you in the lift is irrelevant. Well, what? How's that irrelevant? I was speaking about females all across the board being interested in me. Like, evidently 100% interested in me. Like, there's no fucking question in my mind. Not saying it, and by the way, this doesn't have to be like, you don't have to make this into like a sexual thing, by the way. I'm just saying that all women at all ages are always nice to me. Like, to a degree of some of them asking for my number, asking me on what you do, asking me questions which are blatantly obvious about my intent. Like, so what do you do for a living? Where do you live? Oh my God, that's amazing. So, do you want to, I go to this gym. Would you like to? That's what I'm trying to say. And no offense, it just a bit weird. Well, why is that weird? Why is that weird? Yeah, you can say that, of course, you can say that to my face. I don't think it's weird. How's that weird? That's the reality of the situation. That's what's going on. How is that fucking weird? If you think it's weird, you're the problem. You're the one putting things in your own head thinking, oh, that's so weird. No, you're fucking weird. I'm just telling you the reality of life, what happened to me in a reality situation. This genuinely happened to me in a lift in Dubai recently. And I'm 32 fucking years old. And maybe they weren't underage. They just looked like they were. They were very young. I don't know how old. I didn't fucking ask. I just frowned and looked away and walked out the fucking lift. Like, okay, chill. Like, you're putting that shit into your own thing. And also, it's like this. I had a conversation with someone the other day about this, and this is super open. This is what I would talk to like my closest friends about. My friend was like, is it weird that I'm into this certain thing sexually? And I was like, I wouldn't say it's weird because you don't decide what you like. You don't decide what you're into. You don't decide your type. You don't decide what kind of chick you're attracted to. And you don't actually really decide what like gets you on sexually. Like, I know he was telling me, do you think it's a bit weird that I'm into this? And I was just like, bro, at the end of the day, I'm not here to fucking judge you. Like, if you're into it, you're into it. You didn't choose it, did you? It wasn't like you woke up one day and was like, I'm now going to pursue this type of sexual thing. I was just like, well, mate, like, you didn't choose it. Like, it was you're just that kind of guy. Like, you just have people who are interested in different shit. Like, you literally go on the internet and people have like foot fetishes. Like, I know that sounds fucking crazy, and like we're getting into the woods here, but like, that's mental. I don't have that specific one, but I wouldn't say it was weird. It is kind of a weird, but like, it's just like you didn't choose it. You didn't choose it. It just happened. It's like you don't think in your head. Like, some dudes are into brunettes, some dudes are into blondes, some dudes are into ginger chicks, some dudes like big titties, some dudes like small titties, some dudes like big ass, some dudes like smaller. We're going down but I'm saying, like, in a completely truthful manner. Like, you don't decide what your type is. You just like what you like. And that's just the nature of the luck of the draw when you were born. So I don't think anything's inherently weird. Maybe the pursuit of doing something that's grotesque might be weird if you're not even into it. But if you're just like, you don't decide, like, what the fuck? Just being honest. Yeah, Bitcoin's kind of boring right now, so I'm chatting. I'm just doing questions. What's your quick rundown on the Bitty weekend? It'll probably be nice and flat on the weekend. It happens to all men. Good-looking men and boys look at women. Yeah, of course. People look at each other, yeah. But no, in this specific example, I just remembered it because it was blatantly obvious that these two chicks were just like, I think they were sisters. They were just both looking at each other, and they were just like that obvious, like, giggly, looky shit. And I was just like, this is crazy, man. Like, what's going on? They may have thought I was a famous person. I don't know. I have had that before because I'm in the Burj Khalifa and shit. They think you're famous or something. They think you're an actor. I've had that a few times. And like I'm just like, no, don't do that. Might have thought I was somebody else. Anyone who says it's weird, it's clearly in their 40s, 50s, or above, and have not been in any clubs recently because now it's almost impossible to find a girl in a club over 18. In Dubai, it's slightly different because it's quite a mature city. Just because if it's very expensive, a lot of the money is in the higher bracket of age. A lot of women who come here, are doing industries which are quite well paid. So it's not like a lot of 18-year-old chicks and below couldn't afford to be in Dubai. Because obviously the older you are, the more money you can acquire. But yeah, no, I think it definitely in the UK. I've seen it, yeah. And I've seen it all around. Even Singapore was nuts. Asia, Japan was crazy. And these chicks probably weren't even young, but they dress up to look young. Like, bruv, like 100%. Me and my dad went to Japan, and they have whole streets of just like chicks wearing just basically like clothes which they would wear if they were like children. It's simple as that. Like that's what it is. Like it's Barbie doll style Japanese chicks. And by the way, just so you know, everyone thinks they're like, oh yeah, Asian chicks. Japanese chicks are not hot. They are not hot. Like that. There was not one hot Japanese chick, native Japanese chick I saw. They're super alien looking and very white alien looking. The actual Asian chicks, Japanese are weird. They put out a Western image of what they are to Western society, but when you actually go there, it's way different. Like Japanese chicks don't look like they do when they promote Japan to America or the UK. Way different looking, way more alien looking. Thailand chicks, nah. I think the best is like a synergy between Westernized and Asian. So like Singaporean is quite good. I gotta go, guys. 3 hours I've been doing this. Feet are extremely useful. What have we been going on? I gotta bounce. Getting really into the woods. Guys, you're all legends. Have a great thing. If you want to trade on good exchanges, you know what to do. Use my recommended exchanges in the links below. Check out my company, MDX Algo. You know what to do. Lots of updates and stuff. And just genuinely speaking, have a good time. And I'll see you on the next Streamer Uniente. Book a call as well. If you're interested in just having a chat with my team about trading and what you want to do, link below. You can book a call with us completely free. You'll chat with one of our team members, one of our mentors, or me. And you can literally just have a chat. And we'll be like, look, what do you want to achieve? Here's how we can help you. Potentially, we might end up doing some business together where you pay for my services, which get you to where you want to be, and then I can monetize my educational value to the marketplace. Yeah, take care, legends. I'll see you on the flippies. Have a great night, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are. Legends. Speak soon.